Chapter 6:12. Half of the golden sandalwood incense was suddenly ignited. Almost 1/10 of it had been burned. A wisp of golden fragrant mist immediately spread across the world passage, forming a golden smoke screen. As soon as the sect master of the three realms smelled the mist, his eyes flashed with rays of light. His speed instantly increased by 30%. He was a cultivator of the profound gate. To him, this ancient divine incense was a great supplement that was hard to come by. The golden smoke screen continued to spread to the back, drifting towards the rogue devil and Ning Fan. As soon as the rogue devil smelled the smoke, the devil chi around his body began to melt. The wisps of golden smoke seemed to be extremely corrosive. Being inside the golden smoke screen, the rogue devil's gigantic body began to melt into golden liquid bit by bit. As more and more fragrant mist seeped into the rogue devil's body, his chi began to show signs of declining, and his speed began to decrease rapidly. What kind of bird fragrance is this? The rogue devil was shocked. The fragrant mist also seeped into Ning Fan's body, trying to melt all the devil chi in his body. Ning Fan was secretly shocked. This fragrant mist is really domineering. It's actually a treasure that specializes in restraining devil cultivators. When his devil chi was being suppressed, the ancient divine blood in his body began to boil. His aura force did not decrease but increased instead. Ning Fan felt a warm current flowing out of his chest, producing a mysterious power that devoured the sandalwood mist in his body. At this moment, the ancient divine blood in his body circulated on its own, devouring the golden sandalwood mist wantonly. Every time he devoured a wisp of the mist, his magic power would increase tremendously. Every time he devoured a wisp of the mist, some light spots would appear on his glabella, slowly forming the fourth divine star. He narrowed his eyes and immediately realized that the strange sandalwood incense that the sect master of the three realms ignited was a poisonous item to devil cultivators. It could cause great damage to them. However, to profound cultivators, it was a supreme treasure that could increase their cultivation base. The stronger the divine bloodline, the greater the benefits one would get from absorbing the fragrant mist. With Ning Fan's divine king bloodline, his magic power had increased by half a yuan after just absorbing a wisp of the fragrant mist. If he could devour the entire golden sandalwood incense, his magic power would certainly increase tremendously. Ning Fan's gaze shifted to the rogue devil. When he saw that the golden sandalwood incense had injured him and his cultivation base was about to drop, he immediately crouched down and placed his palm on the rogue devil's shoulder. His palm seemed to have formed a vortex, sucking out all of the fragrant mist from the rogue devil's body. As the golden fragrant mist left his body, the chi of the rogue devil gradually returned to normal. He gave Ning Fan a complicated look without saying anything. Ning Fan rose to his feet and opened his mouth, sucking in all of the fragrant mist into his stomach. Then he activated the divine blood in his divine aperture and frantically refined this fragrant mist. His royal divine blood seemed to be boiling, and his physical body seemed to be on the verge of burning. After inhaling all the fragrant mist in the air, his physical body swelled up like a balloon. His body was filled with a large amount of unrefined fragrant mist. To Ning Fan, this fragrant mist was an extremely nourishing item. It contained nearly 2,000 yuan hui of magic power. If he could completely refine the fragrant mist in his body, coupled with the divine ability of the ancient god's divine aperture, his magic power would increase by 4,000 yuan. If the sect master of the three realms were to absorb all of the fragrant mist, he would only be able to increase his magic power by 500 yuan at most. After all, the divine bloodline of the sect master of the three realms was far inferior to Ning Fan's. Besides, he was not an ancient god who had yet to open his divine aperture. Such a large amount of fragrant mist was not something that could be refined in a short period of time. Ning Fan formed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers and forced all the fragrant mist in his body into the heart aperture of his divine heart. Gradually, his body stopped expanding and returned to normal. In his divine heart, a fingernail-sized golden crystal slowly formed. That golden crystal was formed from 1/10 of the ancient divine fragrance mist. If Ning Fan refines it, it could increase his magic power by 4,000 yuan. Continue to chase after him. Ning Fan gave an order. The rogue devil threw a punch across the sky, creating countless void vortexes. The fist light turned into black wind that filled the sky and swept towards the sect master of the three realms. The sect master of the three realms was shocked. He raised his hand and pointed behind him. Countless golden runes flew towards the black wind. As the black wind swirled, all of the golden runes were destroyed. Then it swept towards the sect master of the three realms. The sect master of the three realms immediately felt a sharp pain on his back. His face turned pale, and he nearly fell off the purple flying shuttle. Impossible. I have already ignited 1/10 of the ancient divine incense. Why didn't it hurt the rogue devil? This incense didn't hurt the rogue devil. Perhaps it's because the rogue devil has great abilities, and is not afraid of the ancient divine incense. However, what ability does he have? He's just a devil cultivator at the origin returning realm. Why didn't he get killed by the ancient divine incense? He didn't even suffer any injuries. He actually remained unscathed in the ancient divine incense mist. Could it be that the rogue devil is protecting him? Humph. So what if he's a rogue devil? This ancient divine incense is the supreme treasure of the ancient divine clan. If I have the entire ancient divine incense in my hands, I can even severely injure a life-immortal realm devil cultivator. This half of the ancient divine incense is definitely more than enough to kill a rogue devil. I'm just reluctant to use up this incense. It's not because I'm afraid of the rogue devil. Ignite. This time, the sect master of the three realms directly ignited 20% of the ancient divine incense. As soon as the sandalwood was ignited, the golden fragrant mist immediately spread across the world passage. The sect master of the three realms inhaled a huge mouthful of the fragrant mist. His speed increased as he fled for his life. This time, the density of the fragrant mist was twice as thick as before. Being in such a dense golden mist, the rogue devil found it hard to breathe. Its gigantic body began to melt again. Within the golden mist, a gigantic golden armored guard gradually appeared. It only had the left half of its body, and there were 5 golden stars on its glabella. The golden armored guard's chi was comparable to that of a rogue immortal. It was extremely powerful. The golden armored guard's expression was very indifferent. He glanced at Ningfan. As if he had sensed Ningfan's ancient divine bloodline, he did not look at him for a second time. His gaze gradually turned fierce when it fell on the rogue devil. Suddenly, he raised his left hand and the golden mist condensed into a golden spear in his hand. He threw the spear at the rogue devil and shouted coldly, "Millions of divine incense can annihilate heavenly devils. Devil annihilate." That golden spear was as dazzling as the sun. It carried an extremely dense ancient divine chi, as if it could subdue all devils in the world. The tip of the spear was extremely fast. Before the rogue devil had a chance to dodge, it had already penetrated his chest. Ah! After being pierced by the golden spear, the rogue devil let out a blood-curdling scream. A golden hole immediately appeared on its gigantic body. Black blood flowed out from the hole, and it nearly fell from the sky. Ningfan's eyes widened. He did not expect that the golden fragrant mist could actually transform into the shadow of an ancient god. He would not be mistaken. That golden armored guard which only had half of its body was definitely the shadow of an ancient god. Even though he did not know what that ancient divine incense was, he was certain that it must be something that belonged to the ancient divine clan. This incense was specially used to subdue devils. However, to the ancient divine clan, this incense was the best item to increase their cultivation base. Refine. Ningfan squatted down and pressed his palm on the rogue devil's shoulder. A vortex appeared on his palm, and he sucked in the air. As he sucked in the air, the golden spear that penetrated the rogue devil immediately turned into fragrant mist, and was absorbed by Ningfan. Even though the spear had penetrated the rogue devil, it did not pierce the vital parts of his dantian. Even though the face of the rogue devil turned pale, its combat power did not decrease by much. After Ningfan refined the golden spear mist into his body, he stood up and stared coldly at the shadow of the golden armored guard. There were 5 stars on the glabella of the golden armored guard. He must be a 5-star ancient god. However, the bloodline of this 5-star ancient god had only reached the true blood grade. It had yet to reach the royal grade. Ningfan, on the other hand, was an ancient god with royal grade bloodline. This devil is my slave. You can't kill him. Back off. Ning Fan shouted coldly. His voice carried the dignity of a king god. When the golden armored guard sensed Ning Fan's vast bloodline aura force, his eyes trembled, and he felt a little scared. He no longer dared to attack the rogue devil. Instead, he bowed slightly at Ning Fan and suddenly shattered his body, turning back into the fragrant mist. When Ning Fan saw this, he opened his mouth and swallowed all the fragrant mist into his stomach. Then, he forced it into his divine heart and condensed 2 golden crystals again. There were already 3 golden crystals in his body. If he refines all of them, his magic power could increase by 12,000 yuan hui. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a bottle of 6th revolution pills. He tossed the whole bottle into the rogue devil's mouth and ordered, "Take this pill to suppress your injuries. Then, continue to chase after him." The rogue devil did not say anything. His eyes were filled with astonishment. In the past, he only knew that Ning Fan was a devil cultivator with ancestral bloodline. However, he did not know that Ning Fan also possessed the divine bloodline of a royal bloodline. He was able to scare off the golden armored guard with just the aura force of his bloodline. There is actually a cultivator who cultivates both divine and devil cultivation in this world. How terrifying. When he thought about it again, the reason why he was injured was all because of the strange fragrant mist that the sect master of the 3 realms created. All of a sudden, the killing intent in the rogue devil's eyes intensified. He hated the sect master of the 3 realms to the core. Without Ning Fan's order, the rogue devil formed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers and activated a secret technique. His body seemed to have turned into lightning, and his speed immediately increased by a few times. In just a breath's time, the rogue devil was already 10,000 zhang behind the sect master of the 3 realms again. He raised his hand and threw a punch at him. "Old fool! How dare you ambush me with the demonic fragrance? I'll beat you to death." Boom! Countless void vortexes exploded behind the sect master of the 3 realms. The sect master of the 3 realms felt a sharp pain on his back after being hit by the rogue devil's punch. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and fell off the purple flying shuttle. The rogue devil stepped on the vast sky and approached the sect master of the 3 realms. Then he threw another punch at him. The sect master of the 3 realms was shocked. His body dispersed into countless rays of golden light, dodging the rogue devil's punch and reforming his body 10,000 zhang away. He panted heavily and stared at the rogue devil with a gloomy expression. He did not expect that he could not stop the rogue devil even after lighting up 20% of the ancient divine incense. However, seeing that the rogue devil was severely injured, the sect master of the 3 realms calmed down a little. He knew that his ancient divine incense was quite effective against the rogue devil. However, what puzzled him was that Ning Fan was still unscathed even though the rogue devil was injured to this extent by the ancient divine incense. This young man is indeed a devil cultivator. However, he wasn't hurt by the ancient divine incense at all. It's really strange. Forget it. No matter how strange this young man is, if I light up all of the ancient divine incense, he will certainly die and the rogue devil will certainly be severely injured. Humph. Since I can't escape, I won't. Burn. This time, the sect master of the 3 realms lit up the remaining 70% of the ancient divine incense. He was reluctant to use the ancient divine incense in the first place. That was why he kept avoiding the rogue devil. Now that he had nowhere to retreat or hide, the sect master of the 3 realms naturally no longer felt distressed about using the incense. The remaining half of the golden sandalwood was ignited by the purple flames. Inch by inch, it turned into ashes and disappeared. Wisps of golden mist quickly spread across the sky. In just an instant, it had sealed off the sky within 8 million li. The sect master of the 3 realms sneered. His 10 fingers formed a series of hand seals. Within the mist, the shadows of 3 golden armored guards slowly appeared. The chi of the 3 golden armored guards had all reached the rogue immortal realm. The 3 golden armored guards raised their palms, and each of them condensed a giant golden spear in their palms. The 3 of them looked at Ning Fan with respect. When they turned to look at the rogue devil again, their eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Humph. This old man has already sacrificed all of the ancient divine incense. There's no reason for me to return empty-handed today. I will certainly kill the two of you here. Kill. The sect master of the three realms let out a cold snort. The three golden armored guards raised their hands at the same time, preparing to throw their golden spears. He was a divine cultivator with true blood. Using his true blood to command the shadows of the three ancient gods consumed a lot of his magic power. Seeing that the three golden armored guards were going to attack him at the same time, the rogue devil showed a hint of fear despite his strength. Ningfan's eyes, however, remained cold. He stood on the shoulder of the rogue devil while his body emitted traces of the aura force of an ancient god with royal bloodline. Under this aura force, the three golden armored guards were all shocked and doubtful. None of them dared to throw their golden spears. As for the sect master of the three realms, he stared at Ningfan in disbelief. He gritted his teeth and said, "Impossible. You're clearly a devil cultivator. Why do you have such a pure aura force of divine blood? Besides, the grade of your aura force has actually reached the royal bloodline level." The sect master of the three realms could only identify the grade of Ningfan's bloodline. However, he could not tell that Ningfan was an ancient god and not an ordinary divine cultivator. Ningfan did not say much. He just glanced at the three golden armored guards with his cold eyes and gave an order. "Stand down." The three golden armored guards were suppressed by Ningfan's bloodline aura force. Their hearts were filled with fear, and they did not dare to utter a word. All of them turned into fragrant mist and dispersed. The moment Ningfan used his royal bloodline to disperse the three golden armored guards, the sect master of the three realms immediately suffered a huge backlash. Then he opened his mouth and inhaled, swallowing all the golden mist into his stomach and forcing it into his divine heart. Then 7 golden crystals formed in his divine heart again. At this point, he had completely devoured the ancient divine incense of the sect master of the three realms. If Ningfan devours all 10 of the golden crystals, his magic power would increase by 40,000 periods. At that time, his magic power would exceed the limit of 100,000 periods. In terms of magic power alone, he would be comparable to an ordinary second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster. I miscalculated. The sect master of the three realms did not say much. He just showed a regretful expression. He did not expect Ningfan to be a divine cultivator with royal bloodline. His ancient divine incense did not hurt Ningfan at all. Instead, he used all of his incense to strengthen his enemy. How hateful. Kill. Ningfan did not have the mood to talk nonsense with the sect master of the three realms. Today, only one of them could survive. As soon as he gave the order, the rogue devil immediately sent out rays of destructive fist light. The eyes of the sect master of the three realms darkened. Suddenly, his eyes shone with purple light. Purple sun open. A gigantic shadow of a purple sun suddenly appeared behind him. As soon as the gigantic shadow appeared, the aura force of the sect master of the three realms began to rise steadily. Be careful. He has the most sinister purple sun physique among the 7 young physiques. Luo Yu's anxious voice resounded in Ningfan's mind. Chapter 6:13. When he heard that the sect master of the three realms possessed the purple sun physique, Ningfan immediately understood many things. The reason why the sect master nurtured Du was probably because of his scarlet sun physique. The gigantic purple sun summoned by the sect master of the three realms was shrouded in purple flames, but it gave Ningfan an extremely cold feeling. At this moment, all the pores on his body shivered. It was an instinctive premonition of danger. This purple sun is very dangerous. Ningfan had been taught an incomplete chant by Luo Yu which could devour true yang power. However, that chant was incomplete. It was impossible to break the purple sun technique of the sect master of the three realms with just a chant. Under the purple sun, the golden robes of the sect master of the three realms fluttered in the wind. His body was surrounded by tens of thousands of golden runes. His aura force rose steadily under the purple sun, almost reaching the peak of the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. This person was already a peak expert of the 9 realms. An ordinary void fragmentation realm expert could not be compared to him. Compared to him, Moksha Sovereign and Thunder Sovereign Buzhou were much weaker. First purple sun technique, burn. The sect master changed his hand seal. Waves of cold purple flames suddenly spread out from the purple sun, turning into countless gigantic purple firebirds that attacked Ningfan and the rogue devil. Ningfan's eyes widened slightly. The power of these firebirds was even stronger than the rogue devil's fist light. Without the help of the rogue devil, Ningfan would certainly not be able to withstand the attack of these firebirds with his own strength. Ningfan had to admit that the sect master of the Three Realms was very strong. He was not someone he could fight against. However, he and the sect master of the Three Realms were already irreconcilable enemies. No matter what, he must not let this enemy go. Attack! Under Ningfan's command, the rogue devil immediately took a huge step forward, leaving Ningfan behind. His devil chi flowed in reverse and his physical body suddenly shattered, turning into a monstrous devil mist. Then, the mist turned into an incomparably huge black skull. This black skull was an extremely powerful devil technique. It was one of the trump cards of the rogue devil. Devour. The skull opened its mouth and swallowed all the purple fire birds into its mouth with a boundless suction force. After withdrawing from the devil skeleton, the rogue devil turned back to his giant form and sneered. He felt that the technique of the sect master of the Three Realms was only so, even though it seemed powerful. In the end, it was still easily broken by him. Just as he was thinking, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his abdomen, and heard the cries of countless fire birds. His huge body suddenly started burning from the inside out, and a big hole was burned in his chest. How dare you devour our sect's technique? Explode. The Three Realms sect master fiercely formed a hand seal, and the firebirds immediately exploded within the loose devil's body. The devil screamed and was blown into countless black mist. After a short while, the black fog condensed back into the loose devil's gigantic body, but its aura was much weaker than before. It was obvious that it had suffered serious injuries. At this moment, the scattered devil's body was burning with purple flames. The purple flames seeped into his body and turned into purple maggots that ate away at the scattered devil's body. Rogue devil's god had Yang Yu Li Hu. He started Yu became anxious for Sun Yu god. This 9 dragon who Yu Fan had was in Sun Yu. The clan Sun Yu is Yu Yin King Hu Sun Hu Li. The sect Tian Yu clan of Li. Ningfan returned to the rogue devil's shoulder. Without saying anything, he squatted down and placed his palm on the rogue devil's shoulder. A whirlpool of black and white flames appeared on his palm. The traces of purple flames in the rogue devil's body were sucked into the whirlpool, and sealed inside the steel of sun and moon. Ningfan dispersed the purple flames in the rogue devil's body and stood up. His face suddenly turned pale, and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. There was actually a purple fire maggot in the blood. What a vicious flame! Ordinary flames relied on burning to hurt others. The purple flame of the sect master of the Three Realms, on the other hand, relied on corrosion. If it wasn't because the rogue devil had suffered most of the damage from the purple flames and the steel of sun and moon could restrain flames, Ningfan would certainly not be able to force the rogue devil's purple flames out with his current cultivation base. Seeing that Ningfan had saved him, the rogue devil's eyes turned complicated again. The sect master of the Three Realms' face turned pale. It was hard for him to imagine that the purple flames that even the rogue devil found troublesome was actually broken by Ningfan. Purple Sun Second Technique, Combine. The sect master of the Three Realms changed his hand seal, and leaped into the gigantic purple sun with a single step. His body slowly merged with the purple sun. After a while, the purple sun completely fused with the body of the sect master of the Three Realms. At this moment, the sect master of the Three Realms emitted a dazzling light like a sun. He changed his hand seal and the purple flames in his body suddenly flowed out, condensing into a gigantic purple poisonous dragon. The cultivation base of that purple poisonous dragon was slightly lower than the sect master of the Three Realms. It was only at the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Separate. The sect master of the Three Realms continued to form hand seals. Balls of purple flames flowed out of his body and condensed into purple poisonous dragons. In an instant, there were already 8 purple poisonous dragons coiling around him. Kill! As the sect master of the Three Realms gave an order, the 8 poisonous dragons beside him rushed towards the rogue devil and Ningfan. As for himself, he hid among the poisonous dragons, intending to cooperate with them to attack the rogue devil. Ning Fan clenched his fists tightly. At this moment, the sect master of the Three Realms' aura force skyrocketed. He even summoned 8 7th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm poisonous dragons to help him. His combat power had already surpassed the rogue devil. The rogue devil had a slim chance of winning against the sect master of the Three Realms. However, this battle was unavoidable. Once he steps onto the battlefield, he would no longer have the chance to retreat. He could only fight until the end. I have a secret technique that can allow me to recover my cultivation base above the void fragmentation realm in a short period of time. However, I need your ancestral devil blood to use it. If this technique succeeds, this old man will certainly die. The rogue devil gritted his teeth and said. What he meant was that he actually wanted to cooperate with Ning Fan to fight against the sect master of the Three Realms. How do I cooperate with you? Ignite your devil blood and lend me your ancestral devil might. All right. Ning Fan pondered for a moment and agreed to the rogue devil's request. Without saying anything else, he ignited a trace of ancestral devil blood in his body. At the moment the drop of devil blood was ignited, a vast devil might spread out from Ning Fan's body and was guided into the rogue devil's body. Ning Fan's face turned pale rapidly, but his eyes remained resolute. He did not ignite the entire drop of devil blood. He only ignited a trace of it. Even though he only ignited a trace of his devil blood, the devil might it produced was incomparably vast. It made the rogue devil feel a little suffocated. Strands of demonic might were guided into the scattered devil's body. The scattered devil immediately formed seals with his 10 fingers. His face also turned pale and his aura started to rise. Ning Fan had once extracted a large amount of devil chi from him, causing his cultivation base to fall. Today, after absorbing the devil might of Ning Fan's ancestral blood, he used a secret technique to temporarily replenish his devil chi, allowing him to recover his previous cultivation base within a short period of time. His aura force slowly rose to the 9th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, and gradually surpassed the 9th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was now between the void fragmentation realm and the life immortal realm. At this moment, the scattered devil's demonic aura gradually condensed around him. It was as still as stagnant water. He raised his head, glaring at the sect masters of the Three Realms and the 8 purple poison dragons. He was so angry that he actually laughed. Old fogey, fight me. With a wave of his hand, 8 huge black skulls suddenly appeared in the sky. The 8 skulls opened their mouths at the same time, each swallowing a purple poisonous dragon. As soon as the dignified 7th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm purple poisonous dragon was swallowed by the skull, he immediately let out a miserable shriek and died. The sect masters of the 3 worlds were shocked. They did not know why the rogue devil's aura force suddenly rose to the void fragmentation realm. He hurriedly stopped in his tracks. Even though he was shocked, he did not panic. Instead, he formed hand seals and chanted some incantations. Rot! The remains of the 8 poisonous dragons that were swallowed by the skulls immediately exploded, turning into boundless poisonous flames that corroded the 8 skulls into purple poisonous liquid. The poisonous liquid that blotted the sky turned into a purple poisonous rain, pouring down on the rogue devil's head. The eyes of the rogue devil turned cold. With a punch, the poisonous rain that blotted the sky turned into nothingness. The sect masters of the 3 worlds were shocked again. At this moment, the rogue devil gave him a feeling that he could not defeat him. He patted his storage pouch and took out a golden gourd. Then he cast it out. A ray of purple light floated out from the gourd. That purple light turned into an extremely fast sharp blade that could travel thousands of li in a single breath. With a slash from the sky, the rogue devil's head was directly cut off. The rogue devil's head flew high up into the sky. However, he did not die. Instead, he turned into black mist and dissipated. At the next moment, the black mist gathered again, and the rogue devil's head grew back. Without saying anything, he raised his hand and grabbed the sharp purple light blade. With just a palm strike, he crushed the blade into pieces. With a slap from his palm, the golden gourd was smashed into pieces across the sky. With another slap, a massive force hit the chest of the sect master of the 3 worlds from a distance away, directly knocking him down from the sky. What's going on? Why did this devil suddenly become so much stronger? The sect master of the three worlds glared at Ningfan hatefully. He did not know what Ningfan did to him, but he was sure that it must be related to Ningfan. He had several chances to kill the rogue devil. However, Ningfan was the one who interfered every single time. Now that the situation had changed, the sect master of the three worlds' heart sank. Most likely, he was going to die today. The rogue devil took a huge step forward and gathered all of his anger into his punch. Each of his punches would certainly be earth-shattering. The sect master of the three worlds summoned his magic treasures to fight against the rogue devil. However, the rogue devil's current cultivation base had already exceeded the void fragmentation realm. It was not something he could fight against at all. Boom boom boom, each of the magic treasures was smashed into pieces by the rogue devil. Rays of punches landed on the body of the sect master of the three worlds. 10 punches, 100 punches, 1,000 punches, 10,000 punches, 100,000 punches. The physical body of the sect master of the three worlds was about to be smashed into nothingness by the rogue devil. The immortal veins in his body were all broken, and his primordial spirit had become illusory. He was not far from death. He could not run away. He could not win the battle. He was unwilling to die. The sect master of the three worlds glared at the rogue devil, and then at Ningfan. His eyes were filled with endless hatred and regret. If he did not listen to Moksha Sovereign's slanderous words and did not come here to kill Ningfan, he would not have ended up in such a miserable state. It was too late for regrets. There were no ifs in life, and there was no room for regret. The sect master of the three worlds was an ambitious and ruthless character in the heaven immortal world after all. His strength alone was enough to wipe out the three lower worlds. Now that he had ended up in such a state, he would not beg for mercy from Ningfan. He would only fight with his life on the line. At this moment, he ignited the purple sun in his body and swore to perish together with Ningfan. I have never been weaker than anyone in my life. Even if I have to die right now, I will leave you a great gift. The strongest technique of my three-world sect is the sealing technique. I have studied the sealing technique for tens of thousands of years, and combined it with my purple sun physique to create this technique. Immortal technique, purple seal. The sect master of the three worlds shouted. At this moment, his body turned into purple flames and soared into the sky. He was going to display an immortal technique to severely injure Ningfan. Normally, only immortals could display immortal techniques. Even rogue immortals would not be able to display immortal techniques. The sect master of the three worlds had spent his entire life to create an immortal technique sealing technique. He sacrificed his entire life's worth of cultivation to finally display this sealing technique. His body turned into purple flames, and his primordial spirit turned into purple flames. His Tao mastery turned into purple flames that filled the sky. Within the purple flames, there were countless golden runes, all of which possessed sealing power. The life of the sect master of the three worlds had ended at this moment. However, the immortal technique that he displayed was still continuing. Suddenly, the purple flames formed a massive purple whirlpool. It was similar to the whirlpool of the spatial vortex technique. It produced a boundless suction force, but it did not attract the rogue devil but Ningfan. Ningfan was originally standing on the shoulder of the rogue devil. However, when he was sucked by the whirlpool, he lost his balance and was sucked into the whirlpool 10,000 zhang away. Destroy it. Ningfan hurriedly gave an order before he was sucked into the whirlpool. The rogue devil heard his order and immediately rushed forward. Countless punches landed on the purple whirlpool. However, he could not break it. It was an immortal realm sealing technique. Even though the rogue devil was strong, it was still difficult for him to break it. Moreover, the rogue devil could only rely on a secret technique to temporarily recover his previous cultivation base. As time passed, the duration of the secret technique would run out, and his cultivation base would fall to the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm again. His punches began to weaken, making it even more difficult for him to break the seal. Inside the purple whirlpool, Ningfan seemed to be fixed in place. He could not move at all. He tried to escape into the profound Yin world to avoid the seal, but he realized that he could not escape at all. Traces of purple light seeped into Ning Fan's body, slowly forming a series of sealing techniques on the left side of his body. Countless sealing techniques seeped into his body, causing him immense pain. His primordial spirit was also covered with a series of sealing techniques. The seal lasted for 2 whole hours. 2 hours later, the purple whirlpool disappeared. Ning Fan returned to his white robes and fell from the sky as if he was exhausted, landing heavily on the world passage. The rogue devil approached Ning Fan with a complicated expression and stared at him without saying a word. In the profound Yin world, Luo Yu witnessed the entire process of Ning Fan being affected by the sealing technique. She bit her lips with her pearly white teeth and clenched her fists so tightly that her nails pierced into her flesh. She had never felt so powerless before. With her current cultivation base, she could not help Ning Fan resist the Immortal Realm sealing technique at all. "I'm sorry." Luo Yu blamed herself. "Don't mind me. I've killed an 8th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster, but I was only affected by a sealing technique. I didn't lose my life. It's already worth it. This is the price I have to pay for killing the sect master of the 3 realms." Ning Fan did not even have the strength to stand. All he could do was sit cross-legged on the ground and consume some pills. Then he began to regulate his breath and magic power to treat his injuries. He casually comforted Luo Yu, not wanting her to blame herself. It was his own choice to kill the sect master of the 3 realms. All the consequences would be borne by him alone. It had nothing to do with anyone else. Ning Fan looked inside his body. When he saw the densely packed sealing techniques inside his body, he showed a mixed expression. Of course, his worries were greater than his joy. He was worried because this Immortal Realm sealing technique was really powerful. What he was happy about was that being affected by the sealing technique of the sect master of the 3 realms did not come without any benefits. This Immortal Realm sealing technique did not seal one's cultivation base. Instead, it sealed one's lifespan. Most of Ning Fan's lifespan had been sealed by this technique. Now he only had 100 years left. Originally, when Ning Fan broke through to the void fragmentation realm, his lifespan would be greatly increased. Now that Ning Fan's body was sealed, even if he breaks through to the void fragmentation realm, the increase in his lifespan would still be sealed. He would still only have 100 years of lifespan. This sealing technique was extremely vicious. It was not that Ning Fan could not break it, but he did not dare to. He could use the wind mist technique to slowly break this seal. However, he would definitely have to bear the consequences of breaking the seal. If he did not cultivate to the Immortal Realm, he would die immediately once the seal is broken. If he did not cultivate to the Immortal Realm, he would also die after 100 years. The only correct way to break the seal was to break through life and death within 100 years and cultivate to the Immortal Realm. Normally, only immortals could achieve immortality. However, there were also exceptions. There were also a few rogue immortals who could break through life and death before becoming immortals and obtain immortality. These kind of people would usually only appear once in a million years. Ning Fan remained silent. In order to break the seal, he would need to become an immortal within 100 years. It was easier said than done. He did not think that he was a genius that appeared once in a million years who could break through life and death before becoming an immortal. Since he only had 100 years of lifespan left, it meant that he could no longer enter the dark golden pagoda from today onwards. The flow of time inside was too fast. He did not have enough lifespan to squander. Fortunately, other than the dark golden pagoda, he still had a second cultivation cheat, the profound Yin world. What a vicious sealing technique. If you can't become an immortal within 100 years, you will die. Luo Yu's heart ached. I won't die under this level of sealing technique. Ning Fan gradually recovered some of his magic power. He slowly stood up and glanced at the rogue devil. He then patted the devil pouch and kept it inside. Although he was sealed, this seal was not completely without its benefits. This sealing technique contained all the purple sun power of the sect masters of the 3 worlds. If one day, Ning Fan was able to break through to the Immortal Realm, he would be able to remove the sealing technique without any worries and refine and absorb the purple sun power within. Then he could complete the second yang spirit of the steel of sun and moon. Ning Fan consumed some pills again, and turned into a ray of light, speeding along the passage of the world. He did not have time to recuperate. He did not even give Emperor Moksha the time to search his primordial spirit and soul. He had to cross the passage immediately and return to the rain world. Because of the battle, the passage was showing signs of instability. It was unknown when it would collapse. If Ning Fan did not return to the rain world before the passage collapsed, he would be in big trouble. He sped along the way and passed by the battlefield. He collected all the storage pouches scattered on the ground, and extracted the blood essence of the void fragmentation realm old monsters' corpses, storing them in the Xianwei blood gourd to brew blood wine. There were too many experts who had fallen in this battle. Ning Fan's harvest was naturally huge. However, he did not have the time to count his gains now. I must cross the passage as soon as possible and return to the rain world. In a secret chamber in the Nirvana Hall of the Devil World, two black-armored devil cultivators, one old and one young, suddenly sensed something. Their eyes were filled with extreme anger. In the Nirvana Hall, the life tablets of the 4 devil elders and the other experts were all shattered. How is this possible? The 4 devil elders have all died in battle. Even my current body has fallen. The 2 devil cultivators were enraged. In the Heaven Immortal World, in the 3 Worlds sect, the great elder of the sect was holding a broken life tablet. His entire body was trembling and his eyes were filled with fear. Sect Master is dead. On this day, the Heaven Immortal World was in an uproar because the sect master of the 3 Worlds sect, who was at the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, had actually fallen. The reason was unknown. The 3 Worlds sect did not disclose it to the outside world. However, those who were observant could still find some clues. In the middle state of the rain world, in the vast sky, a gigantic rain gate suddenly appeared out of nowhere. As soon as the rain gate appeared, a pale-faced young man in white robes walked out of it. All of a sudden, the sky was filled with drizzles. The left side of the young man's face was covered with purple sealing techniques. He glanced at the rain world indifferently, and heaved a sigh of relief. Rain world, I'm back. Chapter 614. Ning Fan stood in the sky of the Middle Province with a slightly relieved expression. Not long after he returned to the rain world, the world passage completely collapsed. The world passage was formed by the world-breaking light. Once the world passage collapsed, the world-breaking light was enough to shred the bodies of scattered immortal cultivators. If Ning Fan's traveling light is slightly slower, he would probably die in the collapse of the world passage. That was close. Is this the Muyun nation in the west of the Central Plains? Ning Fan's spirit sense slowly spread out, covering an area of 1 million li. Muyun country was a low-ranked cultivation country. Its territory was only a few 100,000 miles wide. Ning Fan's spirit sense spread far and wide, covering all the cultivation cities and sects in the entire Muyun country. At this moment, all the cultivators of Sunset Cloud Nation were shocked. They felt as if they had been swept by an extremely powerful divine sense. The monarch of the Muyun kingdom was an old monster at the peak of the Golden Elixir realm. At this moment, he was in seclusion in a cultivator city. When he sensed this extremely frightening divine sense, he immediately exclaimed in shock. What level of divine will is this? Even a nascent soul cultivator's divine sense can't reach this level. Could it be the legendary soul formation divine sense? While he was still in shock, a black flame suddenly flashed in front of him, and a white-robed young man appeared in front of him. This white-robed young man was none other than Ning Fan. The reason why he came to look for the Muyun country lord was because he wanted to ask about the current situation of the rain world. The king of the Muyun country stared at Ning Fan, who appeared out of nowhere. His heart was filled with extreme shock. His status was low and he did not know how Marquis White Robe looked like in the rain world. Naturally, he did not know Ning Fan's identity. The reason why he was shocked was because Ning Fan had directly appeared in his stone chamber. One should know that there was a nascent level lower-grade grand array outside the stone chamber. Since Ning Fan could ignore the low-grade nascent soul realm formation light and directly enter the stone chamber, his cultivation base was at least at the mid or late nascent soul realm. When he thought about the terrifying spirit sense he sensed just now, The king of Muyun inwardly guessed that this Ning Fan in front of him was probably a divine transformation realm old monster, and the spirit sense he sensed just now was from him. This junior is the Sunset Cloud Country's King Zhaoxi. May I know why senior has come here? Is there anything I can help you with? The king of Muyun bowed and bowed deeply. He did not dare to raise his head as he was afraid of angering Ning Fan. Based on his speculation, Ning Fan was a divine transformation realm old monster who possessed unparalleled strength. He could eliminate Gold Core Realm and nascent Soul Realm cultivators with just a raise of his hand. To him, a divine transformation realm old monster was already a legendary figure, so he naturally did not dare to offend them. If he knew that the person standing in front of him was the dignified Marquis White Robe of the Rain World, he would probably be paralyzed on the ground. Don't be nervous, I'm just here to ask some questions. If I am satisfied with your answer, I will bestow upon you some benefits. Hearing that there would be a reward, the Muyun monarch's eyes lit up with excitement. After all, the benefits casually bestowed by a deity transformation old monster were enough for him to enjoy for the rest of his life. Junior will definitely tell you everything I know. Tell me everything that happened in the Rain World in the past 2 years. Yes. The monarch of the Muyun country raised his spirits and briefly organized the information in his mind. Then he told him all the major events that happened in the Rain World in the past 2 years. Although his cultivation level was low, he was still the monarch of the Middle State Xiu country. Therefore, he would be able to receive the news no matter what happened in the Rain World. For example, the Pill Sovereign attained the 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Realm. The sect master of the Lanling country recovered from his injuries and attained the Void Fragmentation Realm. A lady in Yu country in the southeastern continent broke through to the Void Fragmentation Realm. When he mentioned that the Rain World had 2 Void Fragmentation Realm experts, he could not help but feel a little proud. The Rain World had always been the weakest in the 9 worlds. After having 2 Void Fragmentation Realm experts, the overall strength of the world would certainly increase greatly. Senior, you might not know this, but that sect master of the Lanling country, Prince Lanling, was already the strongest expert below the Void Fragmentation Realm in the Rain World before attaining the Void Fragmentation Realm. After attaining the Void Fragmentation Realm, I heard that even Prince Jinghong was not a match for him. As for the other Void Fragmentation Realm female senior, she is even more powerful. I heard that she is the wife of Marquis White Robe and people call her Fairy Bright Sparrow. After listening to the monarch's explanation, Ning Fan's eyes lit up slightly. During the 2 years that he was away, nothing major happened in the Rain World. Yu country was also not in a huge mess. That made him feel slightly relieved. However, he did not expect that the Rain World would have 2 more Void Fragmentation Realm experts during the short 2 years that he was away. Prince Lanling's injuries had completely healed, and he had already successfully attained the Void Fragmentation Realm. Even though this matter surprised Ning Fan, he did not pay much attention to it. To the current Ning Fan, even if Prince Lanling succeeds in attaining the Void Fragmentation Realm, he was just a first Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator, who was not worth mentioning. As for Fairy Bright Sparrow, who had successfully attained the Void Fragmentation Realm, it really surprised Ning Fan. Ning Fan muttered inwardly. Could it be that this little pill devil had picked up some heaven-defying treasure and eaten it? Otherwise, how could she attain the Void Fragmentation Realm in just 2 years? Unbelievable. This is really unbelievable. By the way, the Rain Sovereign has the intention to summon 2 new Void Fragmentation Realm experts. He has already summoned them to the Rain Palace a month ago. The monarch added. Bright Sparrow is currently in the Rain Palace? Ning Fan's eyes turned grim. Seeing Ning Fan's expression turn cold, the monarch was terrified. Cold sweat kept dripping down his forehead. He did not know which of his words had offended Ning Fan. Just as he was panicking, he saw Ning Fan waving his hand and taking out a pill bottle and giving it to him. I'm very satisfied with your answer. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan's figure flashed and slowly disappeared from his original spot. Inside the stone chamber, the monarch of Muyun held the pill bottle in his hand. The fear in his heart gradually dissipated. After a long time, he opened the pill bottle. As soon as he saw the pill inside, his face immediately lit up with joy. Then he bowed to the direction where Ning Fan had left. Thank you for giving me the pill, Senior. I will never forget Senior's kindness in my life. The pill that Ning Fan gave him was a nascent formation pill. It could increase the chances of him forming his nascent soul. The monarch of Mu Yin was already close to forming his nascent soul. Thus, this nascent formation pill was very important to him. He was close to forming his nascent soul. Ning Fan left Mu Yin country. He rode on the ancient golden sword and flew away. He flew all the way to the east towards heavenly cloud country. He sat cross-legged on the ancient sword. His body was as steady as a boulder. The violent heavenly wind could not shake his body at all. Occasionally, Ning Fan would consume some pills to recover his magic power and stabilize his injuries. His expression was rather solemn. He was a little worried about Bright Sparrow's safety. If Bright Sparrow heads to the Rain Palace, Mu Luo's 5 broken clones would not be able to follow her. At most, he would be accompanied by the little Sable. If the Rain Sovereign has the intention to harm Bright Sparrow, I wonder if she will still be safe. This time, Ning Fan did not stay in the tree world for a long time. However, a lot of things had happened. Collecting Sinli, eliminating the Puppet Sovereign, the Vine Sovereign, the first grade Rain Intent, killing the sect masters of the 3 worlds. Every single one of them was enough to shake heaven and earth. When everything was put together, it was like an unbelievable dream. Only the densely packed sealing techniques in his body, and the feeling of weakness that kept surging up his body and mind reminded him that everything was not a dream. My Rain Intent has already reached the first grade. It's enough for me to use the heaven-peering rain technique. Unfortunately, my magic power has been depleted and my injuries are severe. My body is too weak to use the heaven-peering rain technique just now. I need to recuperate for a period of time and restore my condition to its peak. Only then can I use the technique to search for my mother. I can only put aside the matter of looking for my mother for now. I'm afraid I can't hide the fact that I killed the Vine Sovereign from the Rain Sovereign. However, he certainly doesn't know that I killed the sect masters of the 3 worlds. With the Rain Sovereign's jealous personality, if he knows that I'm strong enough to kill the Vine Sovereign, he might harbor hostility towards me and have the intention to kill me. Of course, there's also the possibility that he might bury his hostility deep in his heart and try his best to befriend me. I don't know what his current attitude towards me is. If it's the latter, it's fine. However, if it's the former, Bright Sparrow might be in danger in the Rain Palace. However, with the Rain Sovereign's personality, even if he wants to harm her, he will choose to do it secretly. Yin Zhongshuan, don't touch my bottom line. If it's possible, I don't want to destroy the Rain Palace. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. If Bright Sparrow is really harmed in the Rain Palace, he would certainly not let the Rain Sovereign go. To be fair, if the Rain Sovereign was willing to live in peace with Ning Fan did not want to turn against the Rain Sovereign. The Rain Sovereign had chased after him and used him. Even if he occasionally protected him, he still harbored evil intentions. He had the intention to burn the bridge after crossing it. From this point of view, even if Ning Fan becomes the Rain Sovereign's enemy, he would not have any psychological burden. However, Ning Fan had received the grace of the Rain Ancestor. He had the bloodline of a king molding divine king, and opened the divine aperture of an ancient divine being. Unknowingly, he owed the Rain Palace a huge favor. That was why he was reluctant to kill the Rain Sovereign. Silly little brother, you're just confused because you're too concerned. Your little sister Bright Sparrow is not an ordinary person. As a member of the royal family of the immemorial Dark Sparrow clan, she has the Pill Devil physique. Now that she has attained the Void Fragmentation realm, she might not be a match for the Rain Sovereign in a head-on battle. However, if the Rain Sovereign wants to kill her, I'm afraid it won't be an easy task. Besides, you also have quite a number of friends in the Rain Palace. There's the Pill Sovereign and Yin Bushu. They will certainly protect little sister Bright Sparrow for you. Luo Yu's reminder gently entered Ning Fan's mind. Her tone carried a hint of seduction and teasing. After hearing her words, Ning Fan's heart calmed down. Luo Yu was right. He was indeed confused because he was too concerned. Bright Sparrow was not a weakling. She had obtained Seed Song's inheritance before. She had many life-saving techniques. Even if she could not defeat the Rain Sovereign, she still had the means to protect herself. The Pill Sovereign and Ning Fan had been through life and death together. He would certainly take care of Bright Sparrow and not let the Rain Sovereign hurt her. The Pill Sovereign was a 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Master. If he wants to protect Bright Sparrow, the Rain Sovereign would also give him some face. You're right. Bright Sparrow will be fine. I've been worrying too much. Ning Fan's eyes gradually calmed down. During this trip to the Rain Palace, he must properly handle his relationship with the Rain Sovereign. It would naturally be the best if he could coexist peacefully with the Rain Sovereign. If not, he would have to establish his prestige in front of the Rain Sovereign, so that the latter would not dare to attack him again. For the sake of the Rain Ancestor, he would try his best not to fall out with the Rain Sovereign. However, if the Rain Sovereign is stubborn and insists on being his enemy, he would not show any mercy. No matter how great the Rain Ancestor's friendship was, it was not enough for Ning Fan to let go of his true enemy. The journey to the Heavenly Cloud Nation was still quite far. It would probably take a few more days. Ning Fan put away his thoughts and focused on recovering his magic power. With the help of the pills, Ning Fan's magic power gradually recovered to its peak state. Unfortunately, there were still some hidden injuries in his body that had yet to heal. In particular, the sealing technique inside his body made him feel slightly uncomfortable. This immortal-grade sealing technique is extremely troublesome. This is the price I have to pay for killing the sect masters of the 3 realms. Ning Fan flicked his sleeves and took out 19 storage pouches. Among these 19 storage pouches, there were the storage pouches of the sect masters of the 3 realms, Wuxia Sovereign and 17 Void Fragmentation Realm experts including Old Monster Tian Fei, and the 4 Devil Elders of the Nirvana Palace. On the World Passage, Ning Fan had no time to care about these spoils of war. However, at this moment he could properly organize the spoils of war. There were a total of 420,000 Dao crystals in the 19 storage pouches. To Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators, every time they refined 10 Dao crystals, they could increase their magic power by 1 yuan period. To Ning Fan, every 5 Dao crystals could increase his magic power by 1 yuan period. It would take a lot of time to refine all 420,000 Dao crystals. However, if he refines all of them, his magic power could also skyrocket. Other than the Dao crystals, the other spoils of war were also very abundant. Among the 19 storage pouches, the ones that tempted Ning Fan the most were the storage pouches of the sect masters of the 3 realms and Wuxia Sovereign. There were still 15 lightning shock balls in the storage pouch of the sect masters of the 3 realms. Each of them was enough to instantly kill a second Heavenly Layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator. Other than that, Ning Fan also obtained the defining technique of the 3 realms sect from the storage pouch of the sect masters of the 3 realms, the Vortex Space Technique. Ning Fan had suffered a few times under the effects of the Vortex Space Technique. Even though he knew that this technique was powerful, he did not put it in his heart. However, after reading the introduction of this technique, Ning Fan was deeply shocked by it. This Vortex Space Technique was actually an immortal technique. Chapter 615. This spatial vortex technique was actually a type of immortal technique. If the full power of this technique was unleashed, it could easily seal an itinerant immortal. This technique had a total of 3 levels, divided into 3 realms. From the lowest to the highest, they were the Silver Swirl, Golden Swirl, and Void Swirl realms. In the history of the 3 realms sect, only the first sect master had successfully cultivated to the Void Vortex stage. The current sect master had only cultivated to the Golden Vortex stage. Given the level of the sect master of the 3 realms spatial vortex technique, he could easily seal an ordinary Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator with just a raise of his hand. If one cultivated this technique to the highest level, they would be able to seal an itinerant immortal with a wave of their hand. In order to cultivate the vortex art, one needed to refine a Grotto Heaven artifact to form a natal Grotto Heaven. The stronger the heavenly abode was, the more powerful the seal would be. Ning Fan's eyes lit up after reading the jade slip of the vortex space technique. He had many heavenly abode treasures and 3 small Kiliacosm treasures. If he could devour the heavenly Grotto Heaven space of all the heavenly grotto treasures, and then devour the minor kiliocosm of the minor kiliocosm of the minor kiliocosm of the minor kiliocosm of the minor kiliocosm. His natal heavenly grotto heaven would probably be even more powerful than the sect masters of the three realms. If he mastered the spatial vortex technique, he would naturally be more powerful than the three realms sect masters. If I have time, I can learn this technique. Ning Fan kept the jade slip of the spatial vortex technique and began to look through Moksha Sovereign's storage pouch. In Moksha Sovereign's storage pouch, there were many good items as well. What made Ning Fan's eyes brighten were the two jade slips. The first jade slip recorded a peak immortal void realm magic art. It was called the revolving wheel art, and it was one of Moksha Sovereign's strongest divine arts. This art was bestowed to Moksha Sovereign by the White Devil Sect Master. Cultivating this art required a high level of ice magic power. If this technique was cultivated to the highest realm, it would be able to reflect all Dharma attacks under the celestial technique. In terms of killing people, its power was almost comparable to a real celestial technique. This technique made Ning Fan's eyes lit up. If he wanted to cultivate it, he would have to wait until he had the time. The second jade slip recorded an incomplete demonic art, Nirvana Sutra. Ning Fan's eyes widened in shock. This evil art was the art to cultivate the Nirvana evil veins. The Nirvana demon vein was extremely abnormal. As long as one did not die from an injury, the more serious the injury, the greater the increase in strength after recovery. What Moksha Sovereign cultivated was none other than this Nirvana scripture. Ning Fan carefully read the jade slip, and his brows gradually furrowed. This jade slip only recorded the cultivation method of the present body of the three bodies of Nirvana. It didn't even have the cultivation method of the other two bodies, let alone the method to open up the Nirvana devil veins. However, after reading the contents of the jade slip, Ning Fan remained silent for a long time. Previously, he didn't know exactly what Moksha Sovereign's current body was. But now he knew everything. There were three Moksha Emperors, three bodies in one body. What he captured alive was the current body of Moksha Emperor. Other than that, Moksha Emperor also had his past body and future body. This technique is incomplete. I can't cultivate it. Ning Fan kept all the storage pouches and jade slips. With a flick of his sleeve, he took out a black primordial spirit and held it tightly in his hand. Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit. Moksha Sovereign was heavily injured by the rogue devil, and his primordial spirit seemed to be on the verge of death. If not treated properly, Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit would perish in no time. Would Ning Fan heal him? Of course not. After his primordial spirit was captured, Moksha Sovereign's eyes turned ferocious. He snorted coldly. Since you have captured the primordial spirit of my current body, my other two bodies must have sensed it. They will come to save me sooner or later. I have the rogue devil. If any of your other two bodies come, I will kill them. Ning Fan sneered. Rogue devil. As soon as he thought of the rogue devil, the aura force of Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit became much weaker. Since Ning Fan had the rogue devil, Moksha Sovereign's other two bodies were no match for him at all. Even if they come, they would only be courting death. What do I have to do to make you let me go? If you kill me, you will certainly offend the White Devil sect. Moksha Sovereign gritted his teeth and said. So what if I offend the White Devil sect? Soul search. Ning Fan was too lazy to talk to Moksha Sovereign. He directly used the soul searching technique. Currently, Moksha Sovereign was not far from death. His primordial spirit was illusory. How could he resist Ning Fan's soul searching technique? After letting out a miserable shriek, Moksha Sovereign directly fainted. As for Ning Fan, he searched his soul and memories unscrupulously. Moksha Sovereign's sea of consciousness was like a black ocean. Under this ocean, layers of seals were set. To Ning Fan, these memory seals were not worth mentioning at all. He could easily break them. As he flipped through Moksha Sovereign's memory fragments, Ning Fan's eyes became colder and colder. From Moksha Emperor's memories, Ning Fan saw Moksha Emperor's entire life. He saw his past when he was a disciple of the old devil. He also saw the whole process of him joining the White Devil sect and plotting against the old devil. Bang! Ning Fan suddenly clenched his palm and crushed Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit, causing his blood to flow uncontrollably. The White Devil Sect. Ning Fan's tone was cold, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. Gradually, he retracted all his killing intent and regained his composure. Revenge must be taken little by little. The current him was no longer afraid of Moksha Sovereign, but he was still far from being a match for the Northern Heaven White Devil Sect. The White Demon Sect was a great enemy, but it was still far away, far beyond reach. He had yet to finish killing all the enemies nearby. Moksha Emperor still had 2 bodies, the Three Realms Sect still had its foundation, and the Rain Sovereign's attitude was still unclear. And the enemy who harmed my parents, the mysterious 7-colored old man. I think I still have a long way to go on this path of evil cultivation. Ning Fan muttered to himself. 5 days later, Heavenly Cloud Nation. During these few days, a massive floating jade platform was built in the sea of clouds above the Heavenly Cloud 10 territories. A grand ceremony was being held on the jade platform to celebrate Prince Lanling and Ming Kei's successful breakthrough to the Void Fragmentation realm. The seats on the jade platform were already filled with the sect masters of countless first-rate forces in the middle state. Sitting on the main seats were all the Void Fragmentation realm experts of the Rain world, including the Rain Sovereign. Yin Tianjue was still absent. Prince Lanling and Ming Kei had already taken their seats. There was also a third heavenly layer Void Fragmentation realm beautiful lady in black robes sitting beside Ming Quebec. She was none other than the little sable, Mei Chun. Logically speaking, her injuries should not have fully healed yet. She would need to consume a high-grade 7th revolution pill in order to fully recover. Only after her injuries were healed could she regain her 3rd stage of the Void Fragmentation realm cultivation base. However, for some unknown reason, her cultivation base had already been restored. Beside the little sable, there was another mysterious man. His entire body was covered in a black cloak, revealing only a pair of deep eyes that were like black gemstones. His eyes were filled with a cunning smile. This mysterious man also had a Void Fragmentation realm aura. However, his aura was extremely fleeting, making others unable to identify his exact cultivation base. Both the little sable and the mysterious man had concealed their chi. Outsiders would not know that they were Void Fragmentation realm old monsters. However, the higher-ups of the Rain Palace and the Rain Sovereign knew about it. The Rain Sovereign wore a smile on his face, but his heart was filled with gloominess. He had never expected that Ning Fan had the strength to kill the Vine Sovereign. He had never expected that there were so many experts hiding in Yu country. The reason he sent Ning Fan to the tree world was to let him soak in the Zhurong spring to increase his fire resistance and help him with his tasks. Who would have thought that he would misjudge Ning Fan? Ning Fan was actually such a powerful person who could even kill the Vine Sovereign. The Vine Sovereign. His strength was even slightly stronger than the Rain Sovereign. Since the Rain Sovereign sent Ning Fan to the tree world, he naturally paid close attention to the happenings in the tree world. After knowing that the Vine Sovereign was killed, the Rain Sovereign paid a huge price to send people to the tree world to investigate secretly. When he received the information about the murderer, he could hardly believe his eyes. The appearance of the murderer was clearly the same as Ning Fan. The Northern Tree Sovereign Liu Bei was Ning Fan. Soul Extraction, Incarnation and Sovereign's Shadow. Ning Fan knew all of the 3 great Void Fragmentation realm abilities. Sovereign Qi. Humph. The person who condensed the Sovereign Qi in the Rain world in the past must be Ning Fan. Ning Fan is the enemy that I have divined. He is the great enemy that will stop me from becoming an immortal. This child hid very deeply, very deeply. If it wasn't for such a huge incident, how would I have thought that this young man could even kill the Vine Sovereign? Humph. Fortunately, I haven't sent him to retrieve the emergence pill. If I send him, he will certainly take away my emergence pill and stop me from becoming an immortal. The Rain Sovereign looked at Ming Kei, Mei Chun and the mysterious cloaked man with a hint of anger in his eyes. The Rain Sovereign had killed everyone who knew about Ning Fan's killing of the Vine Sovereign, without making a public announcement. Other than him, no one else in the Rain world knew about it. After learning that Ning Fan killed the Vine Sovereign, he personally went to Yu country secretly with the intention of doing something bad. At that time, he was shocked to find out that there were actually 3 Void Fragmentation realm experts in Yu country. One of them was a fifth heavenly layer void fragmentation realm tree demon, a third heavenly layer void fragmentation realm marten demon, and a mysterious cloaked man whose strength was unfathomable. Putting aside the marten demon, the tree demon and the mysterious cloaked man were both stronger than the Rain Emperor. After realizing the strength of Yu country, how would the Rain Sovereign dare to make a move against Yu country? Resentfully, he fled back to the Rain Palace. Later on, even Ming Ke succeeded in breaking through to the void fragmentation realm. The Rain Emperor's heart was in a mess. He did not know how to deal with Ningfan. Ningfan's strength was so great that it made him panic. What to do? Ningfan alone could kill the Vine Sovereign, and Yu country still had so many experts. If Ningfan wants to compete with him for the throne of the Rain Sovereign, he would certainly lose without a doubt. Could it be that I have no choice but to use the power of the divine beast in the sacrificial altar of the Rain Ancestor to eliminate him like what I did to the Thunder Sovereign 10,000 years ago? The Rain Sovereign's thoughts were extremely complicated. That divine beast's appetite was too big. If he were to make a move, who knew how much blood and food he would have to offer? Previously, when he was dealing with the Thunder Sovereign, he had secretly sent people to capture 2 million Golden Core Realm cultivators, and offered them to the divine beast. Only then was the divine beast satisfied and helped him once. He didn't know what kind of price he would have to pay if he wanted the divine beast to take action again. No one present knew what the Rain Emperor was thinking. Each of the void fragmentation realm experts of the Rain world had their own thoughts, but they did not show it on their faces. The Rain Sovereign calmed himself down and looked at King Lan Ling and Ming Quebec currently. He had yet to make up his mind to deal with Ningfan. Thus he decided not to touch Ming Ke for the time being. Fellow Taoist Lan Ling and fellow Taoist Ming Ke being able to attain the void fragmentation realm is truly the fortune of the Rain world and my fortune. I intend to give you two some rewards. How about this? You two can tell me what you want. As long as it's reasonable, I will agree to it. The Rain Sovereign pondered for a while, and decided to draw Ming Ke to his side for the time being. As for King Lan Ling, he naturally had to draw him to his side. For the time being, he decided to give them some rewards to draw them to his side. The Rain Sovereign's eyes swept across Ming Ke and Lan Ling, waiting for them to tell him what they wanted. Ming Ke looked at little Martin and the mysterious man beside her and transmitted her voice to them. No one knew what she said. After that, she stood up with a giggle and said to the Rain Sovereign, I want to enter the treasure vault of the ruling Sky City and eat pills until I'm full. Eat pills until you're full? The Rain Sovereign was slightly stunned. Then he chuckled and said, That's easy. After this grand ceremony, I will arrange for someone to bring you to the pill room of the ruling Sky City's treasure vault. There are quite a lot of pills inside. You can take them as you deem fit. The Rain Sovereign did not understand the true meaning of eat until I'm full. He just thought that Ming Ke wanted to enter the treasure vault to take a few bottles of pills. Thus he agreed without much hesitation. Ming Ke giggled and sat back on her seat, imagining the beautiful scene of her eating all the pills in the Rain Palace. After breaking through to the void fragmentation realm, her appetite had become very big. She did not know how many pills she would need to eat before she could be full. The Rain Sovereign looked at King Lan Ling. The latter slowly rose to his feet and cupped his fists at the Rain Sovereign. His handsome eyes carried a hint of coldness. I only have one request. Please grant it, Rain Sovereign. What request? Why don't you tell me? I have some grudges with Marquis White Robe. I hope to sign a life and death contract with him, and have a life and death battle. As soon as King Lan Ling finished speaking, his eyes secretly made eye contact with Yin Jinghong, Yin Zhongyan and the other princes. Obviously, two of the princes were involved in his request. The Rain Sovereign was inwardly shocked. How could this King Lan Ling be so ungrateful, and dare to have a life and death battle with Ningfan? When he thought about it again, he understood the crux of the matter. King Lan Ling did not know that Ningfan had entered the tree world and killed the Vine Sovereign. He did not know how strong Ningfan was. He once had a grudge against Ningfan. Now that he had broken through to the void fragmentation realm, he must have been urged by Yin Jinghong and the others to take revenge on Ningfan. The Rain Sovereign also wanted to kill Ningfan. However, Ningfan had already become strong. Even the Rain Sovereign did not dare to touch him recklessly. King Lanling's request must not be granted. Marquis Whiterobe has yet to reach the Void Fragmentation realm. How can he be fellow Taoist Lanling's opponent? Don't mention this battle again. Just as the Rain Sovereign was about to reject King Lanling, a golden sword light suddenly cut through the layers of clouds and flew towards the jade platform. Before the crowd could see the origin of that sword light clearly, they saw a white-robed young man put away his golden sword and landed on the jade platform with a leap. Then he sneered at King Lanling. "Do you really want to have a life-and-death battle with me?" It was just a sentence, but it contained a heaven-shaking aura force. Under this aura force, King Lanling actually felt a little unsteady on his feet and took a few steps back. He was extremely shocked. He could not withstand Ning Fan's aura force. Each of the old monsters of the Rain World suddenly stood up and looked at the white-robed young man. Invincible origin returning realm. It has only been a few years and Marquis Whiterobe has actually cultivated to the invincible origin returning realm. Chapter 6:16. Ning Fan's arrival had greatly exceeded the Rain Sovereign's expectations. The Rain Sovereign narrowed his eyes. He did not expect that Ning Fan had already returned from the tree world. Each of the old monsters of the Rain World did not know what Ning Fan had done in the tree world. The reason why they were all surprised was because they found out that Ning Fan had actually broken through to the returning origin Great Void stage in just a few years. Besides, after Ning Fan returned to his primordial essence, his aura force was actually stronger than King Lanling, who had a Void Fragmentation realm cultivation base. It was really unbelievable. Ning Fan, King Lanling's star-like eyes were suppressing the deep flames of rage. The cinnabar between his eyebrows shot out a blood-red light, filled with killing intent. No one knew how deep his hatred for Ning Fan was. In the past, his true body failed to break through to the Void Fragmentation realm, and suffered a huge backlash. Hence, he sent his second primordial spirit to the Endless Sea in an attempt to snatch the devil statue slate of the 4 great devil clans of the Endless Sea. He wanted to use the power of the slate to heal his injuries. Unexpectedly, his second primordial spirit suffered many setbacks in the Endless Sea, and failed to obtain all the devil slabs. In the end, it even died in Ning Fan's hands. The death of the second soul caused King Lanling's injuries to worsen, and he was on the verge of death. If he didn't have a way to treat his injuries, Prince of Lanling would definitely die. In desperation, King Lanling had no choice but to use the sect-guarding secret technique of the Lanling sect. He used the 7 Orchids technique to secretly kill millions of cultivators and mortals. He devoured the life force of all the dead and forcefully healed his injuries. After that, he succeeded in attaining the Void Fragmentation realm. But overusing the 7 Orchid technique caused King Lanling's body to suffer from serious hidden injuries, and he suffered from the technique's backlash. Even though he had succeeded in the Void Fragmentation realm, he would never be able to attain the second heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm for the rest of his life. He hated Ning Fan to the core. He was a cultivation genius on the same level as Yin Tianjue. Before he had even reached the Void Fragmentation realm, he was already the #1 expert below the Void Fragmentation realm in Rain World. He originally had a bright future ahead of him, with hopes of reaching a higher realm. If it wasn't for Ning Fan destroying his second primordial spirit and aggravating his injuries, he would not have used the 7 Orchids technique to heal himself, and he would not have ended up in such a state. His cultivation base would stop at the first heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation realm for the rest of his life. His future was ruined in Ning Fan's hands. King Lanling fixed his eyes on Ning Fan. His eyes became colder and colder. He did not know why Ning Fan could break through to the origin returning realm in just a few years. He also did not know why Ning Fan's aura force was so strong. He only knew one thing. He wanted to kill Ning Fan to vent his anger. Even though he knew that the Rain Sovereign was biased towards Ning Fan, he still wanted to kill Ning Fan. Even if he knew that there was a Void Fragmentation realm expert in Yu country, he still wanted to kill Ning Fan. He had already descended into madness. Ning Fan's eyes swept across King Lanling indifferently. He felt that the current King Lanling was rather pitiful. He saw the crazy killing intent in King Lanling's eyes. His gaze moved away from the Prince of Lanling and glanced at the Rain Emperor. Then he swept his gaze over all the old monsters of the Rain world. The Rain Emperor was smiling, but there was a sliver of coldness in his eyes. Ningfan's heart sank. It seemed like the matter of him killing the Vine Sovereign had raised the Rain Sovereign's guard, and he even had the intention to kill him. Ming Ke was blinking her eyes at Ningfan cheerfully, while Mei Chen rolled her eyes at him. Seeing that Ming Ke was safe and sound, Ningfan felt slightly relieved. When he saw that Mei Chen's injuries had actually fully healed and her cultivation base had also recovered, he could not help but feel shocked. As far as he knew, Mei Chen's injuries were extremely serious. She would need to consume at least a high-grade 7th Revolution healing pill to fully recover. It's a little strange. Even though Ming Ke's innate talent is heaven-defying, the number of high-grade pills she needs to consume in order to attain the Void Fragmentation realm in just a few years is definitely not a small number. If Little Black wants to fully recover, she would need to consume at least a high-grade 7th Revolution healing pill. Where did they get the pills to increase their cultivation base and heal their injuries? Did she give them to them? Ningfan's gaze finally fell on the mysterious cloaked person. His eyes met with the cloaked person's black gem-like clear eyes. At first glance, he could tell that the cloaked person was a woman. Moreover, her eyes gave him a sense of familiarity. It was a little cunning and he felt like he had met her before. However, he could not remember where he had seen her before. The black cloak that the woman was wearing was an extremely powerful concealment spiritual equipment. Even Ningfan could not see the woman's face clearly under the cloak. Her cultivation base was erratic, making it hard for others to see through her cultivation base. Ningfan could only tell that she was at the Void Fragmentation realm. However, he could not accurately determine which layer of the Void Fragmentation realm she was at. Why are you looking at me? The pills that they ate were indeed given by me. Why? Does Brother Ning not remember me anymore? I'm a little sad. The cloaked woman suddenly transmitted her voice to Ningfan with a playful tone. It's her. As soon as Ningfan heard the voice, the memories of the past immediately surged into his mind. He was slightly surprised, but his expression did not change at all. He had already guessed who this woman was. He did not expect that it would be her. He did not expect that she would return to the Rain world. If it's her, everything would have a reasonable explanation. With this woman's identity, it would not be difficult for her to get a high-grade 7th Revolution pill to heal the small sable. It would also not be difficult for her to get a large number of high-grade pills to help Bright Sparrow heal the Void Fragmentation realm. However, there was one thing that Ningfan could not figure out. Why did this woman want to help Bright Sparrow heal the Void Fragmentation realm and the small sable? What was her motive? Ningfan, do you dare to sign a life and death agreement with me? Let's have a life and death battle. King Lanling looked at Ningfan provocatively. His tone was a little harsh. Ningfan's eyes turned cold. Even though he felt that King Lanling was pitiful, he would not sympathize with him. If King Lanling seeks his own death, he would not mind sending him to his death. However, before he could say anything, two voices that sounded like they were defending King Lanling rang at the same time. Lanling, step down. The Pill Sovereign suddenly stood up and said in a dignified manner. Fellow Taoist Lanling, don't you think you're bullying a Void Refinement Realm Junior with your Void Fragmentation Realm cultivation base? The sarcastic voice came from Yin Bushu. Other than the Rain Sovereign, no one knew how strong Ningfan was. In the eyes of the crowd, King Lanling was a Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator, who was stronger than Ningfan. Even those who were familiar with Ningfan's background did not think that he could defeat King Lanling. Both the Pill Sovereign and Yun Bushu had the intention to protect Ningfan. Thus, they naturally wanted to stop this battle and not give King Lanling a chance to kill Ningfan. Ming Ke, on the other hand, wore an eager expression. She wanted Ningfan to accept the challenge and teach King Lanling a lesson. In her impression, Ningfan was the invincible and omnipotent brother biscuit. He would never lose to anyone. Mei Chen pouted her lips and muttered softly. Don't tell me this stinky man snatched King Lanling's Dao companion? Otherwise, why would King Lanling slap him like that? It's him. Even though she was cursing in her heart, she had already made up her mind. No matter what, She would not let Ning Fan be in any danger today. The cloaked lady looked at Ning Fan's with a faint smile, not saying a word. There were people who defended Ning Fan, and there were also people who defended King Lan Ling. Seeing the Pill Sovereign and Yun Bushu speaking out to protect Ning Fan, Yun Jinghong could no longer sit still. He exchanged a glance with Yun Zhongyan, who was beside him. They stood up at the same time and said in a low voice, "Alchemy Sovereign and Third Brother are meddling too much. Whether Marquis White Robe agrees to battle Prince Lanling or not is their private matter. We are outsiders, and it is not appropriate for us to interfere." It was obvious that the two of them were on King Lanling's side. Yun Jinghong kept signaling Yin Yomu with his eyes, hinting him to stand up and speak up for Prince Lanling. Yin Yomu, on the other hand, acted as if he didn't see it. He continued playing with the wine cup in front of him without making a sound. There were thousands of cultivators on the Jade platform, and every one of them was a famous old monster in the Middle Continent. All of them started discussing animatedly when they saw this scene. "Sit down. Don't mention anything about the battle again." The Rain Sovereign ordered the cultivators. The Rain Sovereign received news that Ning Fan had subdued a fifth heavenly layer void fragmentation realm Nieli in the tree world. With that Nieli's ability, he should have killed the Vine Sovereign. From the Rain Sovereign's point of view, Ning Fan could even kill the Vine Sovereign. If he has a battle to the death with King Lanling, he could eliminate King Lanling just by raising his hand. Naturally, he did not want such a thing to happen. When King Lanling saw the Rain Sovereign stopping him from fighting Ning Fan, his eyes turned cold and his heart was filled with rage. He knew that Ning Fan was useful to the Rain Sovereign, and the latter had always been biased towards him. However, he never expected that the Rain Sovereign would be so biased towards him. From his point of view, the reason why the Rain Sovereign did not allow him to fight Ning Fan was because he was afraid that Ning Fan would die in his hands. Little did he know that the Rain Sovereign was obviously biased towards him, because he was afraid that he would die in Ning Fan's hands. Bang! King Lanling suddenly half-knelt on the ground and bowed to the Rain Sovereign. Each of his words was heavy. "I have an irreconcilable grudge against Ning Fan. Your Majesty, please allow us to have a battle to the death." Idiot! The Rain Emperor's expression instantly darkened. He also wanted to kill Ning Fan. However, the problem was that even he, the dignified divine sovereign of the Rain world, could not kill Ning Fan. "Lanling, you are just at the first destruction realm. How could you be a match for Ning Fan? Who in the Rain world could resist Ning Fan's Nieli?" The Rain Emperor really wanted to tell the Prince of Lanling the truth, yet he could not bring himself to say it. He was the one who let Ning Fan into the tree world. Since Ning Fan had killed the Vine Sovereign, he also had a lot to do with it. The fewer people who knew about this, the better. Yin Yomu, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said, "Imperial Father, this son has a suggestion. I hope that Imperial Father will accept it." "What do you suggest?" "Father, why don't you allow the duel between the Prince of Lanling and Marquis White Robe? But there's a prerequisite. This duel won't be a life and death contract, and it won't be a life and death battle. We have to stop when it's appropriate," said Yin Yomu with assurance. The Rain Emperor nodded, and was slightly tempted. Since Prince Lanling insisted on having a battle with Ning Fan, there was no harm in him agreeing to it. However, this battle must be stopped when it was over. Now that the Rain Sovereign saw Ning Fan as his enemy, he did not want King Lanling to die in Ning Fan's hands. "That's a good suggestion. Lanling, I'll allow you to fight Marquis White Robe. But this battle can't be a battle of life and death, and you must stop when the time is right. You must remember this." The Rain Sovereign made the final decision. He did not give Ning Fan any room to refuse and directly made the final decision, deciding the duel between the two of them. Since it was not a battle to the death, the Rain Emperor had nothing to worry about. He also wanted to witness Ning Fan's 5 evil separation technique through this battle. From the Rain Sovereign's point of view, Ning Fan himself was just a cultivator of the origin returning Great Void stage. There was no need for him to fear. The reason why he was so strong was all because of Nieli. If Ning Fan wants to defeat King Lanling, he must summon Nieli. This battle was the best opportunity to observe Sinli. "Yes." The Prince of Lanling stood up. There was no expression on his face, But in his heart, he resented the Rain Emperor's partiality even more. There's no life or death in this battle, is it? I will take Ningfan's dog life in this battle. King Lanling's body flashed, and he turned into a faint purple orchid that scattered. At the next moment, above the sea of clouds 1,000,000 zhang above the jade platform, countless faint purple orchids condensed and King Lanling's figure appeared. He looked down at Ningfan from above. In King Lanling's eyes, he was already a void fragmentation realm expert, while Ningfan was still a void refinement realm ant. He firmly believed that the difference between him and Ningfan was like the clouds and mud. He believed that he had the strength to crush Ningfan. Previously, his second primordial spirit died in Ningfan's hands. This time, his true body was going to fight Ningfan personally. Moreover, his true body had broken through to the void fragmentation realm, and even brought along the sect-defining treasure of his Lanling sect. In this battle, there was absolutely no possibility that he would lose to Ningfan. Ningfan, get up to the sea of clouds and fight me. King Lanling wore a purple robe embroidered with pythons and a crown on his head, making him look like an ancient emperor. His cold shout was like an explosion of purple lightning. Yuan Hui magic power spread out, and the sea of clouds was suddenly filled with faint purple orchids. This Yuan Hui's aura force pressed down on the jade platform below. Under this Yuan Hui's aura force, the chi of the old monsters who were famous in the middle state became chaotic. Those with weaker cultivations were directly suppressed to the ground by Prince Lanling's aura. The old monsters of the Rain World looked at Prince Lanling with deep respect. All cultivators below the void fragmentation realm are ants. Is this the aura force of a void fragmentation realm cultivator? How terrifying. After these old monsters experienced King Lanling's aura force, they could not help but look at Ningfan with a hint of sorrow in their eyes. Even though Marquis White Robe is strong, he hasn't broken through to the void fragmentation realm after all. He probably isn't King Lanling's match. Those below the void fragmentation realm are all ants. When has there ever been a void refinement realm expert who could defeat a void fragmentation realm expert in the Rain World? In my opinion, Marquis White Robe will lose without a doubt. There's no need to watch this battle. Marquis White Robe has no chance of winning. Yin Qingge frowned as she listened to the discussions of the old monsters. Her obedient disciple, Yu Chong was so angry that her face turned red. What do you mean by Ningfan will surely be defeated? However, Yu Chong felt that he was thousands of times stronger than Prince Lanling. She felt that she must be sick and very sick. Usually, when she saw these seniors and old monsters, she would tremble with fear. Today, however, she actually had the courage to challenge these old monsters. Ningfan will never lose. He will definitely win. Yu Chong shouted loudly. The others were whispering to each other, but she spoke loudly. All the old monsters at the scene had sharp ears. Naturally, all of them heard Yu Chong's voice. Yin Qingge shook her head and sighed softly. She knew that this disciple of hers probably had deep feelings for Ningfan. Ming Ke and Mei Chen glanced at Yu Chong, thinking to themselves that this lady couldn't be one of Ningfan's lovers, could she? Ningfan also heard Yu Chong's voice. He gave her a deep look and responded with a smile. Yu Chong's face immediately turned red. She lowered her head and panicked like an ostrich. This little girl is interesting. She actually said that Marquis White Robe will definitely win. In my opinion, Marquis White Robe should be proud of himself if he can withstand 3 moves from Prince Lanling. There are very few ordinary origin returning void fragmentation realm cultivators who can withstand 3 moves from a void fragmentation realm expert. All of a sudden, everyone around the jade platform burst into laughter. Yu Chong's embarrassment disappeared and she became even angrier. What? There is actually someone who dares to say that Ningfan cannot withstand 3 moves from Prince Lanling? I'm so angry. Who said that? In a moment of panic, Yu Chong made a slip of the tongue. Who said that Ningfan cannot withstand 3 moves from Prince Lanling? In my opinion, it is Prince Lanling who cannot withstand 3 moves from Ningfan. As soon as she finished speaking, she regretted it. Even she herself felt that what she said was too unreliable. Prince Lanling was a dignified void fragmentation realm old monster. How could he not withstand 3 moves from Ningfan? Just as she was about to correct herself, the surroundings were already filled with mockery. Ridiculous. How ridiculous. There is actually someone in this world who thinks that a void fragmentation realm old turtle cannot withstand 3 moves from a void refinement realm cultivator? How ridiculous. Ningfan's eyes were like cold lightning. Suddenly he scanned the surroundings. When Ningfan's gaze landed on each of the old monsters, they felt as if their sea of consciousness was being pierced by needles. Out of fear, they immediately shut their mouths. Indeed, they did not think that Ningfan could defeat Prince Lanling. However, none of them dared to offend Ningfan either. Marquis Whiterobe's notoriety was too great. When he was at the Void Inquiry stage, he had already swept across the entire Heavenly Cloud realm. Now that he had reached the Origin Returning Great Void stage, perhaps he was already the strongest person below the Void Fragmentation realm. No matter what the result of this battle is, Ningfan was not in existence that they could mock. 3 moves, huh? Ningfan muttered to himself. With a shake of his body, he turned into a butterfly shadow and disappeared. At the next moment, the butterfly shadow flashed and Ningfan appeared 1,000,000 zhang above the sea of clouds. Standing 10,000 zhang away from Prince Lanling, today, you must die. Killing you is as easy as killing an ant for me. Prince Lanling transmitted his voice to Ningfan with a cold smile. He did not want the Rain Sovereign to hear what he just said. He was afraid that the Rain Sovereign would shield him if he heard it. Above the sea of clouds, orchids danced around Prince Lanling's body. His demeanor was extraordinary, just like the son of a heavenly deity. As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly raised his hand and pointed a finger at Ningfan. When he pointed his finger, all the violet orchids turned into white orchids. An extremely dazzling white sword ray suddenly shot out from his finger. It split into 10 into 100, and suddenly, it had already split into millions of sword rays. All of a sudden, it was the white orchid sword finger that Prince Lanling used in the Endless Sea. In the past, Ningfan used the heaven-breaking sword finger to break the white orchid sword finger. In the past, Ningfan used the heaven-breaking sword finger to break the white orchid sword finger. However, the current Ningfan did not need to go through so much trouble. In terms of the current Ningfan's magic power, he was much stronger than Prince Lanling. Destroy. Ningfan just flicked his sleeves casually. His dense magic power suddenly turned into black butterflies that danced in the sky. With a wave of his sleeve, the white orchid sword light collapsed one after another and the orchids withered. When the sleeve reached the front of Prince Lanling, it suddenly turned into a giant sleeve shadow. The sleeve hit Prince Lanling's body. Even though he was not injured, he was sent flying 10,000 li away by the wind. His body looked extremely miserable. Who was stronger and who was weaker was immediately determined. How is this possible? A dignified void fragmentation realm expert like Prince Lanling was actually sent flying by Marquis Whiterobe's sleeve. This sleeve flapping technique can actually force a void fragmentation realm expert to retreat. Could it be the heaven and earth sleeve technique of the barefooted Taoist of the demon world? Nonsense. Marquis Whiterobe clearly didn't use any spells or divine abilities. He merely used the wind of magic power to send King of Lanling flying. Each of the Rain World's old monsters revealed an expression of disbelief. Each of the void fragmentation realm experts of the Rain Palace was equally shocked. Even the Rain Emperor looked stunned. The Rain Sovereign only knew that Ningfan's Nieli was powerful. How could he know that Ningfan's actual strength was also this strong? Even the few princes who were present at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm could not do it. Ningfan's personal strength was clearly above an ordinary void fragmentation realm expert. This is impossible. King Lanling managed to stabilize himself with much difficulty. His handsome face was already purple, and he was furious from embarrassment. Ningfan actually repelled him with just a single strike using his magic power. How was this possible? He didn't believe it. Absolutely not. He, Lanling, was a heavenly proud son of Yin Tianjue's level. How could he be sent flying by a void refinement realm junior? Ningfan must have used some unknown methods. That must be it. He wanted to kill Ningfan to vent his anger. 7 Orchids Art. King Lanling calmed down and killing intent appeared in his eyes. The power of this 7 orchids art was boundless. His second primordial spirit could only display a fraction of its power. As for his true body, he had defeated Yun Jinghong, Yun Zhongyan, and the other Void Fragmentation Realm princes, with just this 7 orchids art. He did not believe that Ning Fan could withstand the 7 orchids art that his true body displayed. Ning Fan stared at the 7 orchids that were slowly condensing in the sky. His eyes turned slightly serious. In the past, he could use the mutual death technique to break this technique. Now, however, he could no longer do so. The reason was very simple. He only had 100 years left in his lifespan. He could no longer squander it recklessly. Besides, the current him did not need to use tricks to win. Soul extraction. He raised his hand and extracted the souls from the ground and the void sky, devouring them. All of a sudden, his aura force skyrocketed. It was almost comparable to a peak first destruction realm cultivator. Break. He raised his finger and pointed. Millions of small void swords slashed at the 7 orchids, shattering them. As soon as the 7 orchids were destroyed, King Lanling coughed out a mouthful of blood. He was severely injured by Ning Fan's attack. How is this possible? His breath was in a mess. His eyes were filled with shock as he stared at Ning Fan. His strongest divine ability, the 7 orchids technique, was directly broken by Ning Fan without any fancy moves. He didn't want to admit it, but he had to. At this moment, Ning Fan wasn't someone he could defeat. 2 moves. On the Jade platform, Yu Chong happily called out. When she said that Ning Fan could defeat King Lanling in 3 moves, she was just spouting nonsense. Now, she vaguely felt that Ning Fan could do it. Each of the old monsters of the Rain world was filled with astonishment. How could they not tell that Ning Fan's strength far surpassed King Lanling's? So I have no choice but to use the treasure of my sect. King Lanling gritted his teeth. If he wants to kill Ning Fan today, he might have to use this treasure. He patted his storage pouch and took out a treasure. In an instant, the clouds changed color and the sea of clouds was filled with the fragrance of orchids. It was a scroll. When the scroll was opened, its contents were revealed. In the painting was a boundless snowy mountain and an icy river. Beside the river bank, there was an orchid as bright as blood. Respect the orchid, attain the Tao. Sheath the orchid, lose the Tao. Snow orchid painting. As soon as this picture appeared, some of the old monsters of the Rain immortal world, who were aware of the situation, turned pale with fright. As for Yin Yomu, who had always been calm, his eyes suddenly flashed with a strange light. Then his eyes gradually turned disdainful. Snow orchid painting, huh? This painting is the supreme treasure of the Lanling sect. However, it is just a replica of the immemorial fisherman's cowhide painting of the shedding orchid sect. It's just a replica. Its power is not bad, but that's all there is to it. It's not worth mentioning. ZZZ. As soon as the snow orchid painting was opened, snowflakes began to fall from the sea of clouds in the sky. Each of the snowflakes contained terrifying killing intent. Fellow Taoists, help me seal the vast sky. The Rain Sovereign's eyes turned grim. He had to combine the strength of everyone to seal the snowflakes in the sky. He could not allow them to fall freely. Each of these snowflakes contained the 2 intents of life and death. They were great killing weapons. Cultivators below the void fragmentation realm would not be able to withstand the power of this treasure at all. They would die as soon as they touched the snowflakes. Has Lanling gone mad? He even took out this treasure. Is he going to disobey my order and fight Ning Fan to the death? The Rain Sovereign was infuriated. Chapter 617. The Snow Orchid Painting, also known as the Thousand Mountain Orchid Snow Painting, was the treasure left behind by the first sect master of the Lanling sect, Qian Shanzi. This treasure's grade wasn't high, but it had a powerful background. It was a replica painting that imitated one of the famous 4 ancient paintings, the primordial fisherman's cowhide painting. This replica contained the will of life and death. As soon as this diagram appeared, the sect masters of the Lanling sect were able to defeat void fragmentation realm cultivators who were at the same level as them. Once King Lanling took out this diagram, Even an ordinary second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster would be severely injured. The Rain Sovereign, the Pill Sovereign and the other void fragmentation realm experts of the Rain world were shocked. At the same time, the Rain Sovereign, Pill Sovereign, Chu Chong, and Yin Chinga, Yin Daoku and the other void fragmentation realm experts of the Rain Palace soared into the sky one after another. They circulated their magic power in an attempt to create a barrier above the jade platform to block the snow from falling and injure the people. Layers upon layers of green light barriers opened up in the air above the jade platform, blocking the wind and snow dangerously. In the sea of clouds above the barrier, the snow was getting heavier and heavier, and a biting cold suddenly spread across the entire heavenly cloud nation. In an instant, the world was plunged into darkness, turning into night. The northern wind howled, and countless cultivators of the heavenly cloud nation felt a bone-chilling cold at the same time. That kind of coldness seemed to be able to reach the depths of these people's souls, as if it could kill tens of millions of heavenly cloud nation cultivators in an instant. With their cultivation, they did not understand why they would have such a feeling. One by one, the low-level cultivators walked out of their houses, raised their heads, and sucked in a breath of cold air. In the night sky, the white snow and the dark night intertwined, forming a mysterious and unfathomable power that tore huge silver cracks in the sky. The paths of the cracks formed mysterious trajectories. Silver-white cracks intertwined with each other like countless intertwining silver snakes. Terrifying snow-white Tao lines poured out from the cracks, and they were imbued with the might of the great Tao, pressuring all the low-grade cultivators to the point of suffocation. The snow-white Tao line was surprisingly the Tao line of life, and it contained boundless Tao energy. At this moment, all the cultivators felt a great sense of danger from the crack. This is Tao orbit. I've seen it in Seetsong's memories. Ming Kei's small face was filled with astonishment. Initially, she had endless confidence in Ning Fan, and was certain that he would defeat King Lan Ling. However, after seeing such a strange phenomenon, she began to worry about Ning Fan's safety. The Tao path was the path of a crack that a second step immortal tore out of the great Tao. Immortals pursued the truth of the Tao and cultivated diligently every day, just to comprehend the 3,000 great Taos. The great Tao was formless, but there were mighty cultivators who could trace the path of the great Tao and tear it apart, borrowing its power to attack their enemies. Immortals who could tear open the Tao track were all extremely powerful beings. Magic treasures that could tear apart Tao paths were all treasures with boundless power. Although the snow orchid painting was only a replica, it was still able to tear apart the Tao path, so its power was definitely not to be underestimated. This treasure can actually tear open Tao paths. Mei Chen's beautiful face paled. She didn't think that this snow orchid painting, which wasn't of a high grade, would be able to tear apart the Tao path. Once this treasure appeared, even Mei Chen wasn't confident that she would be able to withstand it unscathed. Even she was afraid of the destructive power of this diagram. Since Ning Fan had yet to attain the void fragmentation realm, how would he be able to withstand the attack of this diagram? Layers of yellow spring qi gradually gathered in Mei Chen's demon eyes. She made up her mind that if Ning Fan is in trouble, she would come to his rescue at any time. The cloaked lady's black eyes also carried a hint of worry as she murmured to herself. This treasure is indeed powerful. However, as the successor of ancient chaos, you should be able to withstand the attack of this treasure, right? Can you do it? Do you have the qualifications to make me pester you for the rest of my life? Yin Zhongyan looked at the silvery white Tao path that was torn apart above the sea of clouds. His body stiffened and his eyes widened in shock. Tao path. It's the Tao path. This snow orchid painting can actually tear apart the Tao path. This treasure is just too terrifying. With this treasure, Lan Ling will definitely be invincible among cultivators at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. He can even put up a fight against cultivators at the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Yin Jinghong raised his head and looked at King Lan Ling. His eyes were filled with extreme fear and astonishment. Gradually, the fear and astonishment in his eyes disappeared and were replaced by undisguised joy. With this treasure, Ning Fan won't be able to escape death. Yun Jinghong's hostility towards Ning Fan had existed for a long time. If King Lanling manages to kill Ningfan, he would naturally celebrate. Ningfan stood amidst the heavy snow. His figure moved erratically, dodging the snowflakes. Even with his cultivation base, he actually sensed a great sense of danger from the snowflakes. Thus, he naturally would not let the snowflakes get close to him. Each of the snowflakes seemed as light as a goose feather, but in reality, they were extremely heavy. King Lanling's undisguised killing intent filled the sky of the snowflakes. The scariest thing was that the cold Dao power that leaked out from the silvery white Dao path rushed towards Ningfan's face, causing his body to gradually stiffen. Countless ice threads and ice shards were frozen in his blood. There were also countless Dao threads of life flying towards him, forcing him to dodge to the left and right. A magic treasure that can tear apart the Dao path. Huh? I didn't expect King Lanling to have such a magic treasure. I can't underestimate this person anymore. Since he took out this treasure and displayed its power, it naturally means that he has the intention to kill me. Since that's the case, I don't need to show any mercy. Ningfan halted his footsteps. The wind and snow immediately blew at his face along with countless Dao threads of life that pierced his face. Each of the Dao threads of life was even sharper than an immortal void flying sword. They could easily penetrate all of Ningfan's defenses and turn him into a hedgehog. The attack of these countless Dao lines of life and death was enough to severely injure an old monster at the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Ningfan did not say much. He took a step forward and transformed into his black robes. His aura force rose sharply, and it was almost comparable to that of a second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster. However, his aura force became more and more condensed, not allowing others to notice it. He patted his sword pouch, and a golden light immediately darted into his hand, turning into a long and thin golden sword. Emperor Xiao's sword. With the sword in his hand, Ningfan's aura force suddenly changed. The sovereign qi around his body was like a dragon, and there were even traces of golden sword intent flying around him. As expected, it is Imperial Qi Humph. The Rain Emperor's expression was livid. Before the countless Dao of lifelines could reach 3 zhang away from Ningfan's body, they were all minced into pieces by the golden sword intent that was protecting him. Just as the snowflakes approached Ningfan, they were immediately cut into half by the golden sword intent. Marquis White Robe has such a powerful sword intent. He can protect himself with just his sword intent. The strength of this sword intent is definitely not any weaker than the sword intent of the white-robed sword god. Each of the old monsters of the Rain World was initially stunned by King Lanling's snow orchid painting. However, after Ningfan took out Emperor Xiao's sword, their attention shifted back to Ningfan. Deliberately mystifying things. Snow orchid open. At first, King Lanling thought that he could kill Ningfan in a single strike after taking out the snow orchid painting. Now, when he saw Ningfan block the attack of the snow orchid painting with just his sword intent, his eyes immediately turned grim, and he violently shook the painting. The snow orchid painting flashed, and a gigantic orchid suddenly floated out. The orchid was as bright as blood. However, as soon as it came into contact with the air, it immediately withered and turned black. Inside the black orchid, there was an extremely dense death qi. As soon as the orchid appeared, the sky suddenly began to crack, revealing pitch-black Dao paths that crisscross with each other. Countless black lines shot out from the cracks. At a certain moment, the black orchid suddenly began to spin violently. As it spun faster and faster, millions of black Dao paths were immediately drawn out. All of them were Dao paths of death. Die. At this moment, King Lanling no longer concealed his killing intent towards Ningfan. He shook the snow orchid painting again. The wind and snow became even stronger. Within the silvery white Dao paths, millions of Dao paths of life shot out again. The white lines interweaved to form a gigantic fishing net that fell on Ningfan's head. There was no way for him to escape. The black lines turned into countless fishing lines that had hooks attached to them. Everything that was hooked by the hooks would lose their life force. The fishing net of fortune and the immemorial fishing line, huh? Ningfan looked at the fishing nets and fishing lines that filled the sky. He raised the golden sword in his hand and pointed at the nets and fishing lines that filled the sky. It was just a simple sword light. However, in the blink of an eye, It emitted an endless amount of golden sword light, cutting all the fishing nets and fishing lines into pieces. It was as if this sword was powerful enough to pierce through heaven and earth. It was as if this sword was powerful enough to destroy all the gods and devils in this world. The snow orchid painting was indeed powerful, even though it could tear apart the Tao paths. It was just an imitation magic treasure after all. Compared to Emperor Xiao's sword, it was still much weaker. This was because Emperor Xiao's sword was not just a powerful magic treasure. The sword intent that it contained was even more terrifying. How is this possible? King Lanling was astounded. He had already activated the snow orchid painting to its maximum power, but it was broken by Ningfan with a single sword strike. Initially, he thought that after his true body broke through to the void fragmentation realm, he would be able to crush Ningfan with ease. However, he did not expect that Ningfan's strength was higher than his. Initially, he thought that he could easily kill Ningfan's with the snow orchid painting. Unexpectedly, the golden sword in Ningfan's hand was even more powerful than the snow orchid painting. At this moment, Ningfan unleashed his full combat power. Holding Emperor Xiao's sword in his hand, the pressure he gave King Lanling was much heavier than the three old monsters of the Xia clan. King Lanling's back was already soaked with cold sweat. If he had known that Ningfan had such strength and even possessed such a powerful magic treasure, he would definitely not have fought him to the death with full confidence. Luckily, the Rain Sovereign had already given the order that no one would die in this battle. King Lanling knew that he was no match for Ningfan, but he did not think that Ningfan would dare to disobey the Rain Sovereign's order and kill him. Initially, I thought that the Rain Sovereign was siding with Ningfan by stopping this battle. From the looks of it now, the Rain Emperor wants to protect me. King Lanling retreated step by step. On one hand, he avoided the golden sword light that filled the sky, while on the other hand, he used the snow orchid painting to protect himself. He no longer had any intention to fight. On the other hand, Ningfan was approaching him step by step. He held a 3 qi-long golden sword in his hand. His body shone with dazzling golden light, making him look like a heavenly deity that no one dared to look at directly. Every step he took was accumulating his sword force. Every step he took seemed to be stepping on King Lanling's Tao heart, making him shudder. Only then did King Lanling realize that Ningfan did not have the intention to stop at all. When he had the intention to kill Ningfan, Ningfan also had the intention to kill him. Not good. This man wants to kill me. Rain Sovereign, save me. King Lanling wanted to call for help, but it was already too late. Before he could say anything, Ningfan had already waved his sword light. After taking 9 steps, Ningfan's sword force reached its peak. At this moment, Ningfan's ears were filled with silence. He could clearly hear his own heartbeat. Golden sword intent flashed across his eyes. In his heart, a cold and proud voice of a woman echoed over and over again. If I break my sword, there will be no martial arts under the heavens. Qi Ningfan suddenly raised his sword and made a second horizontal slash. As soon as the sword slashed out, golden light flashed. The sword light had already traveled across a vast distance and arrived in front of King Lanling. The sword light was too fast. It was so fast that even the Rain Sovereign could not save King Lanling in time. Have mercy! The Rain Sovereign suddenly stood up and cried out involuntarily. However, his words were still too slow. Before he could open his mouth, King Lanling was already cut into 2 by the golden sword light. His primordial spirit was directly slashed in his dantian. He did not even have the chance to escape. After this horizontal slash of golden sword light killed King Lanling, it continued to slash into the distance. Pieces of the vast sky were slashed by the golden sword light, collapsing towards the distance. In just an instant, the vast sky of millions of li was completely shattered by Ningfan's sword. No. King Lanling's eyes widened. He could not believe the fact that he was killed by Ningfan even at the moment of his death. His storage pouch was taken away by Ningfan with a raise of his hand. His mutilated corpse fell from the sky, passing through the barrier and landing on the jade platform. With a loud bang, his flesh and blood splattered all over the ground. An earth-shattering baleful qi spread out from King Lanling's corpse. None of the cultivators below the void fragmentation realm could maintain their sanity under such baleful qi. This was the baleful chi that was formed after a void fragmentation realm expert died. How could ordinary cultivators withstand it? He's dead. Ning Fan has actually killed King Lanling. Yun Jinghong's back was drenched in cold sweat while Yun Zhongyan had already turned into a stone statue. Both of their strengths were far weaker than King Lanling. If even King Lanling was not Ning Fan's opponent, they were even less of a match for him. This time, it was the two of them who urged King Lanling to challenge Ning Fan. Now that King Lanling was already dead, they were afraid that Ning Fan would pursue this matter. In the past, they regarded Ning Fan as an ant. Now, however, they saw him as a ferocious tiger. Each of the old monsters of the Rain World stared at Ning Fan in horror. To them, Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters were supreme existences. However, such a supreme Void Fragmentation Realm old monster was killed by Ning Fan with a single sword strike right in front of their eyes. This kind of shock was enough to haunt them for the rest of their lives. Ning Fan, how dare you? This empress has already said that life and death cannot be determined in this battle. Why did you disobey this empress's orders and kill Lanling? All of a sudden, the Rain Sovereign rose to his feet and glared at Ning Fan coldly. Ning Fan kept the snow orchid painting and descended from the jade platform. He did not say a word to defend himself. His eyes were filled with killing intent, and he gave the Rain Sovereign an equally cold glare. Just a single look from him contained the Void Fragmentation Realm baleful chi of countless Void Fragmentation Realm beings who died in his hands. From Bone Sovereign, Vine Sovereign, Wan Chongkong Moksha Sovereign, Sect Master of the Three Realms. The Void Fragmentation Realm experts who died in the Tree World and the countless Void Fragmentation Realm experts who died on the World Path. Among these people, some were killed by Nyeli, some were killed by the Rogue Devils, and some were killed by Ning Fan himself. No matter who it is that kills him, Ning Fan would more or less be tainted with an extremely heavy baleful chi. This was the sin of killing, karma, a sin that could not be avoided. This gaze contained a monstrous sea of blood. It was something that the Rain Sovereign, who guarded the Rain World, could never imagine. When he met Ning Fan's eyes, the Rain Sovereign suddenly broke out in cold sweat. His breathing became chaotic. He took a few steps back before he managed to calm his breathing. Terrifying. The baleful chi in Ning Fan's eyes was too terrifying. The death of King Lanling was out of the Rain Sovereign's expectation. It made him act impulsively and say something presumptuous to Ning Fan. After being glanced at by Ning Fan, the Rain Sovereign recalled how dangerous Ning Fan was and immediately shut his mouth. Ning Fan possessed the ability to break the 5 evils. He even dared to kill the Vine Sovereign. As the dignified Rain Sovereign, he could not afford to offend the current Ning Fan. Lanling tried to kill me. Therefore, I killed him. What he said sounded like an explanation, but also a warning. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the entire place coldly. His baleful chi spread out without reservation, dispersing the darkness and dyeing the sea of clouds in the color of blood. The reason why he killed Lanling was not only to get rid of him, but also to give the Rain Sovereign a warning. Each of the arrogant old monsters of the Rain World felt a sharp pain in their sea of consciousness when they met Ning Fan's gaze. Their chi became chaotic and they retracted their gazes and lowered their heads, not daring to look him in the eye. The Rain Sovereign gradually calmed down. He could hear the warning in Ning Fan's words. If he becomes Ning Fan's enemy, he would end up like King Lanling. If they become friends, Ning Fan would not attack the Rain Palace. The Rain Sovereign's face darkened. He knew that he had to carefully consider his attitude towards Ning Fan in the future. Either he would dispel the hostility between them, or he would eliminate this person completely. Qi Ning Fan suddenly raised Emperor Xia's sword, and pointed the sword light at a massive cloud mountain 10,000 li away. With a flick of his wrist, the sword gleam carved 8 large words on the distant mountain of clouds. The rain doesn't betray me and I won't betray the rain. The others were puzzled by Ning Fan's action, but the Rain Sovereign was inwardly shocked. He knew that these 8 words were Ning Fan's warning, and also Ning Fan's bottom line. If he insists on becoming Ning Fan's enemy, Ning Fan would annihilate the Rain Palace. In the first test of the ruling Sky City, I have obtained some benefits from the Rain Ancestor, and I owe the Rain Palace a favor. I can forget about the old grudge that you have against me in the past. But remember, there will be no next time. Ning Fan transmitted his voice to the Rain Sovereign. Chapter 6:18. If the rain doesn't betray me, I won't betray the rain. The Rain Sovereign stood at the peak of the sea of clouds and stared at the 8 large words on the mountain below him with a gloomy expression. These 8 words were carved by Ning Fan with sword light. It had been 10 days since the Rain Sovereign stood there and read the words. 10 days ago, Ning Fan killed King Lan Ling and left the heavenly cloud country. During these 10 days, the Rain Sovereign kept thinking about Ning Fan's words and did not know what to do. Should I become this young man's enemy or become his friend? This young man can kill the Vine Sovereign. His threat is no less than Thunder Sovereign Buzhou in the past. As long as he remains in the Rain World, it will be impossible for the Rain World to be completely under my control. As expected, it's better to get rid of this young man. However, the Rain Sovereign frowned and took out an ancient bronze token. An ancient beast's head was carved on the token. However, Ning Fan has the broken 5 evil separation technique. If I want to kill him, my strength alone is certainly not enough. I certainly need to borrow the power of the divine beast in the sacrificial altar. Only in this way can I kill the Thunder Sovereign in the past without any loopholes. Quick! The Rain Sovereign suddenly sent a few voice transmissions to the ancient beast token. No one knew what he was saying. After a long time, the beast token suddenly glowed faintly and a voice transmission entered the Rain Sovereign's ears. I'm currently in seclusion, and it's already at a critical juncture. I will only come out of seclusion after at least 100 years. Don't look for me to kill him for now. As soon as he heard that, the Rain Sovereign's face immediately turned pale. 100 years. Do I have to wait for another 100 years before I can kill this young man? Humph. Forget it. It's just 100 years. I can afford to wait. However, I can't let this young man handle the matter of going to the immortal Burning Valley to retrieve the emergence pill no matter what. I need to think of another way. I have a few good friends in the Fire World and the Earth World. If I ask them to help me retrieve the pill, I will certainly have to pay a huge price. The Rain Sovereign was deep in thought. During these 10 days, Ning Fan brought Ming Ke, Mei Chun and the Cloaked Lady back to Yu Country on the ancient golden sword. He did not stay in the Rain Palace. Outsiders did not know that he had already fallen out with the Rain Sovereign. He was eager to return to Yu Country to recuperate for a period of time, until his internal injuries were fully healed. Then, he would use the rain technique to find his mother and fulfill his wish. Ming Ke's face was filled with anger along the way. She ignored Ning Fan. Initially, she wanted to eat until she was full in the pill chamber of the Rain Palace. However, she was forcefully brought back to Yu Country by Ning Fan. On the other hand, the mysterious Cloaked Lady didn't say anything. She only exchanged glances with Ning Fan's once in a while, and gave him a sly smile with an inexplicable meaning. Along the way, Mei Chun was the only one who could talk to Ning Fan. Mei Chun was speechless, extremely speechless. Today her injuries had fully healed and her cultivation base had even reached the 3rd break realm. However, she still found it hard to withstand his aura force. Whenever he talked to Ning Fan, he always had a strange feeling of being inferior to him. This feeling was very familiar. In the past, when she was reduced to a small black sable, Ning Fan forcefully kept her as his demon pet. Back then, she also had the same feeling of being dwarfed. I'm a dignified 3rd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator. To think that I couldn't even withstand that stinky man's primordial chi force. This is simply unbelievable. Speaking of which, isn't this stinky man's cultivation speed a little too fast? I haven't seen him for just a few years, and he has actually advanced from the void inquiry stage to the grand void stage. If I have a few more years, tens of years or even hundreds of years, my cultivation base will certainly not be as high as his. At that time, if he wants to forcefully keep me as his demon pet, I certainly won't be able to resist. In the end, I still have to be his demon pet. If she becomes someone else's demon pet, she would rather die than be willing to do so. However, if she becomes Ning Fan's demon pet, it didn't seem to be something unacceptable. While Mei Chun was talking, she occasionally looked at Ning Fan with complicated eyes. She seemed to be helpless and pondering. Even she herself could not tell what she was feeling. She was already very beautiful in the first place. When she was in the demon sinister forest, she was called Meiji by Wan Gui. After her injuries were fully healed, her face became even more radiant. At this moment, her eyes were blurry, adding a myriad of demonic charm to them. She had a kind of beauty that could move one's soul. Ning Fan carefully studied Mei Chen, and felt that she was indeed very beautiful at this moment. Her beautiful face, coupled with the cold temperament of a yellow spring sable, was enough to be called cold and elegant. Peerless beauty in the world. It's a waste to be a sable, to be a demon pet. Ning Fan teased. It was an unintentional remark. What do you mean? What do you mean by, it's a waste to be a demon pet? Mei Chen's face suddenly turned red. Judging from Ning Fan's tone, he didn't want her to be his demon pet anymore. Instead, he decided to let her serve on his bed and offer her beauty? Dream on. I haven't even decided to be his demon pet. And he already wants to take a step further? Recalling the 2 times when Ning Fan touched her body, Mei Chen lost her composure. Looking at her curvaceous body and Ning Fan's faint smile, Mei Chen felt inexplicably displeased. According to the legends, there was a kind of lecherous person in the world who could seduce women with just his gaze and imagine women thousands of times in his sea of consciousness. Could it be that Ning Fan was that kind of person, and he was thinking about taking advantage of her just now? Shameless. I'm not going to show you anymore. Let's see how you can imagine. Swoosh! Mei Chen shook her body and turned back into the body of a small black sable. Her expression showed that she didn't want to talk to Ning Fan. Ning Fan was startled. He didn't think too much about why Mei Chen was angry. When he saw Mei Chen turning back into a sable, he was filled with emotions and held the small sable in his arms. In the past, when I was still at the harmonious spirit realm, I carried you like this and fought in the demon sinister forest. Time really flies. Initially, I found a high-grade 7th revolution pill for you to heal your injuries. I didn't expect that you have already recovered. But this is good too. Seeing that you are fine, I can rest assured. When Ning Fan said that, he couldn't help but look at the cloaked woman deeply. The pill that Mei Chen needed to heal her injuries was given by the cloaked woman. However, Ning Fan still didn't know why the cloaked woman would give it to Mei Chen. He wasn't in a hurry to ask the cloaked woman's purpose. At least, after confirming her identity, he was roughly sure that she didn't have any evil intentions. The small sable in his arms was struggling. She didn't like the feeling of being hugged by Ning Fan. However, when she heard that Ning Fan actually cared about her injuries, and even helped her find a high-grade 7th revolution pill, her mind was in a mess and she stopped struggling. This stinky man actually went through so much trouble to find a pill for me to heal my injuries. This. The small sable couldn't stay calm anymore. The news of Ning Fan killing Prince Lan Ling had shaken the entire Rain world in just 10 days. Ning Fan returned to Yu country. The golden sword light would certainly cause a series of panic in the cultivation countries that he passed by. After several years of silence, Su Yi's reputation in the Rain world instantly rose to a whole new level. There were only a few void fragmentation realm experts in the Rain world. Ning Fan could even kill Prince Lan Ling, who was at the void fragmentation realm. It was imaginable how fearsome his name was. The scariest thing was that Ning Fan had killed a void fragmentation realm expert of the Rain world in front of the Rain Sovereign, but the Rain Sovereign did not punish him at all. Those who were observant began to speculate whether the Rain Emperor's behavior was to protect and connive, or because he was afraid. Some of them were also guessing the meaning behind the words that Ning Fan left on the cloud mountain of the Rain Palace. When this news spread to the Southeast continent, all the cultivators in the Southeast continent, except for the Yu state, fell into a state of unrest. Even some of the devil cultivators in the southeast who were numb to killing would turn pale when they heard Ning Fan's name. When the cultivators of the state of Yu heard about this, most of them were in awe and not panic. Ning Fan was the city lord of 7 Apricot City, but in reality, he could be considered as the secret master of Yu country. The greater his notoriety, the higher his status in Yu country. In the past, the country of Yu was only a low-rank cultivation country. But now, the country of Yu had merged with more than 10 cultivation countries, and was promoted to a high-rank cultivation country, dominating the southeastern continent. Currently, Ningfan's reputation was growing day by day. Among the many cultivation countries in the Rain world, almost none of them dared to offend Yu country. As a Yu country cultivator, he felt a little proud. When Ningfan returned to Yu country's 7 Apricot City, he discovered that there were many envoys from other countries in the city. These envoys were all sent by the neighboring countries of the Yu Kingdom. They came to 7 Apricot City to deliver generous gifts, wanting to further their relationship with the Yu Kingdom. There were also countless envoys from the southeastern cultivators who were still on their way to the state of Yu. Some came to befriend him, some came to test him. These envoys did not even need Su Qiuling to receive them. The 3 commanders of 7 Apricot City would naturally deal with them. Ningfan, of course, would not ask about these trivial matters. To him, recuperating his internal injuries was the most important thing. Of course, there were some things that he had to do before recuperating. Ningfan took out the countless spoils of war that he had obtained in the Battle of the Tree World, and used them to fill the storehouse of 7 Apricot City. After overturning the Vine Palace and killing countless Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators, the countless cultivation resources that Ningfan obtained were enough to make any Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters jealous. With these cultivation resources, it was enough for the cultivators of 7 Apricot City to enjoy for the rest of their lives. As for the 6th and 7th Revolution pills, Ningfan only kept some precious pills. As for those pills that he could not use for the time being, such as poisonous pills and unorthodox pills, he gave all of them to Ming Ke for her to consume. It was probably the compensation for bringing her back to Yu country by force. After taking Ningfan's pills, Ming Ke's face instantly turned smiley again. Her obedient look made Ningfan speechless. After the cloaked woman returned to 7 Apricot City, she no longer traveled with Ningfan. She went alone to 7 Apricot City's Godly Void Pavilion. Ningfan did not stop her. After staying in 7 Apricot City for a while, he immediately went to a barren mountain 1,000 li away to meet Mu Luo, who was living alone in a thatched hut. There was a solitary pavilion outside the thatched cottage, and within it sat a short black-robed old man. He was drinking wine by himself, and he was the loose demon Mu Luo's avatar. When Ningfan appeared outside the lone pavilion, Mu Luo's murky eyes suddenly flashed with a ray of hope. However, he concealed it in the next instant. "Oh, you're back? How was the trip to the tree world? Oh, wait a minute. Your cultivation. You've succeeded in essence returning." Mu Luo lived alone in the barren mountain. He did not interact with the cultivators of the outside world. Thus, he was still unaware of Ningfan's return to the Rain world, and his killing of Lan Ling. He knew that Ningfan had entered the tree world, and he even requested Ningfan to search for the whereabouts of the Ming Luo clan in the tree world. Now that they saw Ningfan's return, they were naturally filled with anticipation. They wanted to know if the Nether Luo clan was still safe and sound. However, when he sensed Ningfan's powerful essence returning chi, all of Mu Luo's words were stuck in his throat. Ningfan's current cultivation base was undoubtedly at the essence returning Grand Void stage. Besides, the density of his magic power was comparable to an ordinary First Destruction Realm cultivator. Before Ningfan entered the tree world, his cultivation base was just at the Void Inquiry stage. Mu Luo really wanted to know what Ningfan had done after entering the tree world, and what kind of opportunity he had obtained that allowed him to advance to the essence returning Grand Void stage from the Void Inquiry stage in just 2 short years. Black light flashed around Mu Luo's body. He instantly disappeared from the pavilion, and appeared 3 zhang in front of Ningfan. Originally, he wanted to ask Ningfan about his essence returning Grand Void stage. However, when his gaze fell on the purple seal on the left side of Ningfan's face, his eyes were filled with shock. "This is an Immortal Realm seal. How did you get hit by such a powerful sealing technique?" His tone was filled with concern. This sealing technique was profound and unfathomable. It had already reached the Immortal Realm. Due to its high level, even the likes of the Rain Sovereign could not tell that this purple rune was a seal. Ming Ke and Mei Chen could not tell. If the two of them could tell how powerful this seal was, they would probably be burning with anxiety. Originally, The cloaked lady was the only one who could tell that this purple rune was an immortal realm seal. Mu Luo's true body was at the rogue demon realm. He could also tell how powerful this sealing technique was. With just a glance, Mu Luo deeply felt that this seal was difficult to break. Besides, he thought about it further. The person who could cast an immortal realm sealing technique on Ning Fan would certainly not be a nobody. Such a person would not exist in the 3 lower realms or the 3 middle realms. Only the 3 upper realms would have such a person. If it wasn't a rogue immortal who planted this seal, it would be a cultivator at the 8th break realm or 9th break realm, who paid a huge price to plant this seal. Mu Luo inwardly guessed that Ning Fan had probably fought with some old monster in the 3 upper realms, and was planted with a sinister immortal realm seal by the other party. My cultivation base has indeed succeeded in returning to the essence returning Grand Void stage. The details of returning Grand Void stage are not worth mentioning. As for the sealing technique that I was afflicted with, the person who cast the technique has already died in my hands. Let's talk about this later. Ning Fan's tone was extremely indifferent. However, when his words fell into Mu Luo's ears, he was greatly shocked. The old monster who planted the seal on Ning Fan had actually died in Ning Fan's hands. This news was just too shocking for Mu Luo. The person who was able to plant this seal on him was at least an 8th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster. However, he actually died in Ning Fan's hands. Mu Luo really wanted to know what Ning Fan had actually done in the tree world during these 2 short years. Ning Fan, however, waved his hand, signaling Mu Luo to calm down. Then he gave Mu Luo a mysterious smile. "Senior, aren't you concerned about the current situation of the Nether Luo clan?" "What? You mean?" Mu Luo was overjoyed. When Ning Fan mentioned the 2 words current situation of the Nether Luo clan, he was implying that the Nether Luo clan had yet to be annihilated, and was still existing in the tree world. After hearing that his clan was not annihilated because of his disappearance, Mu Luo was naturally overjoyed. "Senior, don't be anxious. This junior has brought back another piece of good news when I return to the Rain World this time. Umbrella World Keep." Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a blood-red paper umbrella. He slowly opened it and kept Mu Luo's clone into the Umbrella World. With his current cultivation base, it was naturally not enough to keep Mu Luo. Mu Luo had been living with Ning Fan for a long time. He trusted Ning Fan enough. That was why he allowed Ning Fan to keep him into the Umbrella World. As soon as he entered the Umbrella World, Mu Luo realized that he was on a continent that stretched for millions of li. He was standing in front of an incomparably thick gigantic bamboo forest in the Xiangfei bamboo forest. At first, he did not know what the good news that Ning Fan mentioned was, and why he was kept into the Umbrella World. When he spread out his spirit sense, he realized that there were countless members of the Nether Luo clan living in this sea of bamboo. He was immediately overjoyed, but also a little disappointed. Little friend Ning has actually brought the entire Nether Luo clan back to the Rain World. This is indeed good news. There were not many members of the Nether Luo clan left. There were only 100,000 of them. It was still a far cry from its former prosperity. However, to Mu Luo, as long as the Nether Luo clan was not completely annihilated, it was already great news. Moreover, Ning Fan had gone through a lot of trouble to bring the entire Nether Luo clan back to the Rain World. Naturally, it was also good news. Even though it was obviously good news, Mu Luo still felt disappointed. He did not know what he was looking forward to. Could it be that he was hoping that Ning Fan would give him another surprise in the Umbrella World? A person whom he had let down 2 million years ago, and a debt that he could never repay for his entire life. Mu Luo, is that you?" Suddenly, the trembling voice of a woman came from the gigantic bamboo. A beautiful woman in green robes slowly walked out of the gigantic bamboo. She stared at Mu Luo blankly. Her heart felt like it had been hollowed out in an instant. She even forgot to breathe in disbelief. Mu Luo suddenly turned his head. All of his expressions froze the moment he saw the woman's face. Then, tears flowed down his cheeks. 2 million years of loneliness, 2 million years of guilt, and the heart-wrenching longing that he had for 2 million years. Secluded bamboo. Ning Fan stroked the blood umbrella in his hand outside a lonely pavilion on a desolate mountain, and smiled knowingly. Does this count as me repaying Mu Luo's kindness of protecting you country? The hollow bamboo is not heartless. The rootless wood is not heartless either. That's good. Chapter 619. In the barren mountain, Ning Fan stood there from day to night, waiting quietly. He waited until Mu Luo and Yu Huang were done talking before he let Mu Luo out of the umbrella's inner world. Words cannot express my gratitude. Mu Luo cupped his fists at Ning Fan. His expression was unprecedentedly solemn. In the past, the reason why he protected Yu country for Ning Fan was only because of Ming Quebec. Today, however, Ning Fan had saved the Nether Luo clan, and even brought back the serene bamboo. This made Mu Luo feel grateful towards him from the bottom of his heart. Mu Luo had also roughly understood what Ning Fan had done in the tree world from the members of the Ming Luo clan. Subduing Nieli, who was at the Five-Breaking Realm, and killing Wan Changkong. All kinds of glorious achievements made Mu Luo sigh deeply. Other than gratitude, there was also unconcealed admiration in his eyes when he looked at Ning Fan. Mu Luo carefully examined the purple seal on the left side of Ning Fan's face. After taking a deep breath, he made a decision. This old man doesn't like to receive favors for free. The seal on you is very powerful. This old man has no way to erase it. Can you tell me the whole story of the seal on you? Of course. Ning Fan and Mu Luo walked side by side into the pavilion. With a flick of his sleeve, he took out a wine goblet and drank with Mu Luo's wine. Ning Fan almost did not hide anything from Mu Luo. He told him everything about his trip to the tree world and the battle in the world passage. He even told Mu Luo about the grudge he had with the Rain Emperor. Mu Luo's true body was a loose demon, and he was an important force in protecting the state of Yu. Ning Fan had offended the Nirvana Hall, the Three Worlds sect and the Rain Sovereign. He had made countless enemies both openly and secretly. He needed to tell Mu Luo everything about the enemy so that Mu Luo would know who the enemy was. If the enemy were to invade, it would be better to be prepared. Mu Luo listened to Ning Fan's narration quietly. Subduing the evilly, subduing the rogue devil, killing the puppet sovereign, killing the vine sovereign, beheading Moksha sovereign, annihilating the sect masters of the Three Worlds. Mu Luo could be considered as someone who had lived for 2 million years. His heart could be said to be as firm as a rock. However, after hearing about Ning Fan's glorious battle achievements, he could not help but feel a little shocked. Mu Luo's true body was also just a rogue demon. However, Ning Fan had managed to subdue a rogue devil as his subordinate. This really astonished Mu Luo. It was hard for Mu Luo to imagine that the puny harmonious spirit realm cultivator that he could destroy with a wave of his hand had grown to such an extent. After wreaking havoc in the tree world, he killed 2 great figures of the devil world and heaven immortal world. The younger generation will surpass us in time. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Mu Luo gulped down the wine in the goblet fiercely and showed an ashamed expression. When he was at Ning Fan's age, he was just a small divine transformation realm cultivator in his clan. However, Ning Fan's name had already spread far and wide across the world at his current age. I've never had any friends in my life, but you and I hit it off. This old man owes you a favor. Initially, I wanted to help you remove the immortal rank seal, but there's nothing I can do. This old man can't remove this seal. If I forcefully break the seal, your life will be in danger. Mu Luo sighed. His eyes were filled with shame. It doesn't matter. If I can become an immortal within 100 years, the seal will be broken by itself. There's no need to worry. Ning Fan was rather open-minded. AI, it's easier said than done to become an immortal in 100 years. Take this. Mu Luo sighed, opened his mouth and spat out a black ray. The black light turned into a brocade box and landed on the stone table. The brocade box glowed faintly and slowly opened. Inside the brocade box was a pitch-black fruit core that was the size of an inch. The core of the fruit was engraved with 8 golden lines. This is... Even with Ning Fan's experience, he actually could not recognize what this fruit core was. Luo Yu, however, recognized it and reminded him in her mind. This is the fruit core of the undying fruit. Moreover, it's the legendary immortal grade fruit core. As expected, just as Luo Yu reminded him, Mu Luo explained. This is the fruit core of the 8 marks undying fruit. It's a treasure that I obtained by chance when I was still in the tree world. It has the medicinal effect of blocking tribulations and prolonging one's life. Take it. If you still haven't become an immortal after 100 years, you will certainly be devoured by the seal. At that time, with the protection of this undying fruit core, you will only suffer serious injuries at most. At least, you can keep your life. Ning Fan quietly looked at the fruit core of the undying fruit core. His expression did not change, but his heart was filled with raging waves. The undying tree. The undying tree. All of a sudden, Ning Fan recalled Si Wuxia's words. She claimed that there was an undying tree in the ruins of the ancient heavenly court, which could help Mu Weiliang recondense her 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls. At this moment, he automatically ignored the fact that this fruit core could save his life. There was only one thing in his mind. Could this fruit core of the undying tree help Mu Weiliang recondense her soul and awaken? He reached out his hand and held the fruit core of the undying fruit in the brocade box. The moment he held the fruit core, Ning Fan felt a majestic life force cleansing his entire body. It was as if there was a clear spring that was nourishing his soul. It was refreshing and refreshing. This fruit core indeed has the effect of nourishing one's soul. However, a mere fruit core is far from enough to help Mu Weiliang reconstruct her soul. It's not enough. Ning Fan sighed. This was just a fruit core. It was not a complete undying fruit. The fruit of the undying tree was called the undying fruit. Its grade was determined by the number of golden lines. Fruits with 1 to 7 lines were mortal grade, while those with 8 lines and above were immortal grade. If there were a few undying fruits with 8 lines or hundreds of undying fruits with 7 lines and below, Ning Fan was confident that he could help Mu Weiliang reconstruct her soul. However, it was a pity that Ning Fan only had 1 fruit core. Even though its grade was high, it was not enough to reconstruct her soul. Not enough. Sigh. It's indeed not enough. You only have 1 8 lines fruit core. It can only protect your soul from being destroyed when you face the backlash of the seal. However, your body will still suffer severe injuries. It would be great if you have a few more of these fruit cores. Unfortunately, I have only obtained 1 fruit core in my entire life. Mu Luo shook his head and sighed. He did not know that this was not what Ning Fan meant when he said that it was not enough. No. It's enough. Thank you for your kindness, senior. I will shamelessly accept this undying fruit core. Ning Fan closed the brocade box and kept it in his storage pouch. This 8 lines fruit core was not enough to save Mu Weiliang. However, it was enough to save his life. Whether he succeeded in becoming an immortal or not within 100 years, he would not die under the sealing technique. When the ruins of the ancient heavenly court are opened, Ning Fan would certainly head there to search for the undying tree. The flesh of the fruit would be given to Mu Weiliang to help her reconstruct her soul. As for the core, he would keep it for himself to prolong her life at the critical moment. In this way, there was really nothing to worry about regarding the immortal realm sealing technique that Ning Fan was afflicted with. Ning Fan sat for a while more before returning to the Dark Sparrow grave of Sinister Sparrow sect with Mu Luo. Thinking Luo Juhai and the people of the underworld Luo clan were left in the grave by Ning Fan, allowing Yu Huang and Mu Luo to meet. As for Qing Dai, she stayed in 7 Apricot City with Teng Xianro. Ning Fan went to visit Mu Weiliang once. Mu Weiliang was lying quietly in the green coffin, sleeping peacefully. She would have woken up in another 10 years or so, but Ning Fan had cast a magical technique to delay her awakening. It was not the right time for her to wake up yet. The best time to do so would be after finding the undying tree. Ning Fan caressed Mu Weiliang's sleeping face and slowly closed the green coffin. His heart was relieved. Mu Weiliang's resurrection was not far away. His mother was also about to be found. One of Moksha Sovereign's 3 bodies had been destroyed. It was not far from avenging the old devil. Each and every one of his wishes would be fulfilled. The only thing that bothered Ning Fan was that Yin Tianjue's whereabouts were uncertain, causing him to have no chance to meet him. That was his father. He felt that he should more or less meet Yin Tianjue. However, he had no idea what he should do after meeting him. Yin Tianjue once said that he was looking for someone, a person that he couldn't remember at all. Ning Fan left the Yuanyao world and returned to 7 Apricot City. Then he entered Si Fan Palace. Bathing in the night snow, he returned to his bedroom. Before he entered the room, he heard the sound of running water coming from inside. When he pushed the door open and entered, he could not help but feel surprised. He saw a wooden tub behind the screen in the room. A naked lady was happily bathing in it. The lady's eyes were as bright as the moon. Her fine black hair was wet and her body was naked. She had a voluptuous figure. Her beautiful body was enshrouded in faint water vapor, like a moon palace maid who was lost in the moonlight. Sensing that Ning Fan had entered the room, the lady blushed. However, she concealed it well, and said with a slightly impatient tone, "Little cucumber, I've encountered a bottleneck in my cultivation. Help me solve it." Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a hint of lust. However, he slowly suppressed it and closed the door. Then he walked to the back of the screen and looked at the lady who was bathing with a faint smile. "How do you want me to help you?" Who else could the lady who was bathing in his room be other than Yu Lingkong? Cut the crap. Yu Lingkong walked out of the wooden tub while still dripping wet and pushed Ning Fan to the ground. Her body was flushed with shyness. However, her expression was still as carefree as usual. Her breathing, however, became slightly heavy and carried a hint of seductive fragrance. "Little cucumber, I've told you before that I'm going to fuck you until you want nothing more. Wake up, little cucumber." After a night of sensual intimacy, Yu Lingkong ate and drank to her heart's content. Using the dual cultivation technique, she broke through a small bottleneck and obediently went to her room for seclusion. Ning Fan was half lying on the bed, smelling the slightly sensual scent behind the curtains. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. Had he neglected Yu Lingkong for too long? Did he make her so horny that she actually took the initiative to attack him? As he thought about it, Ning Fan felt that he had been busy with his cultivation and had gone to the tree world for quite some time. He had indeed neglected the few ladies who he had sex with. After dual cultivation with Yu Lingkong, the internal injuries in his body had healed significantly. To Ning Fan, who had already cultivated the yin-yang transformation to the second level of the third level, the effect of dual cultivation in healing his injuries was very good. After the news of Yu Lingkong and Ning Fan's dual cultivation and seclusion spread out, a few ladies in 7 Apricot City could no longer remain calm. Ning Fan sat cross-legged and adjusted his breathing. He sat there from day to evening. Only then did he slowly exhale a mouthful of turbid qi. Just as he was about to stand up and move his muscles and bones, a hint of faint killing intent suddenly came from outside the door. Although it was called killing intent, it also contained thousands of strands of tenderness. It was simply a kind of love that could kill each other. It's her? Ning Fan was stunned. All of a sudden, he recalled a myriad of memories. He closed his eyes and pretended to sleep. After a long time, a pink mist gently drifted into the room from the gap of the door and landed on the ground, turning into a lady who was wearing a pink veil. This lady was a gold core realm cultivator. If the experts of the Sinister Sparrow sect were here, they would certainly recognize that this lady was one of the most popular figures in the Sinister Sparrow sect. Pink Skeleton by Lu. With Ning Fan's help, this lady had already formed her core successfully. Now her cultivation base was at the early gold core realm. She was wearing soft silk shoes. Her footsteps were light and delicate as she slowly walked towards Ning Fan's bed. "Liar. When are you going to stop pretending to be asleep? Are you trying to trick me into plucking you?" Bai Lu's tone carried a hint of disdain. Even though her words were filled with disdain, her heart was filled with embarrassment. The reason why she came here today was naturally to take revenge on Ning Fan. The so-called revenge was to pluck Ning Fan with all their strength and squeeze him dry. "You also seem to have encountered some bottlenecks. Do you need my help?" Ning Fan opened his eyes and revealed a teasing smile. What do you mean?" Bai Lu instinctively panicked. Ning Fan took the opportunity to grab her and threw her onto the bed. Immediately, the sound of clothes being torn and a woman's rapid breathing resounded in the room. "Wait. I'm not ready yet." The next day, Bai Lu left 7 Apricot City in high spirits and returned to the Sinister Sparrow sect for seclusion. Her cultivation base was at the early gold core realm, while Ningfan's cultivation base was at the great void realm. Under Ningfan's help, she had obtained a lot of benefits. In the room, Ningfan did not sit down cross-legged to meditate. His cultivation base was much higher than Bai Lu's. The benefits he obtained from dual cultivation with her were minimal. However, it could not be said that there were no benefits at all. At least, the process was very pleasant. It was difficult to hide the fact that Yu Lingkong and Bai Lu entered seclusion one after another from the ladies in 7 Apricot City. On the third night, Lan Mei came as promised. She asked Ningfan to help her unblock the bottleneck. On the fourth night, Su Qiuling ordered someone to deliver a letter to Ningfan, inviting him to her small courtyard to accompany her to admire the flowers. On the fifth night, Ningfan returned to his room. Suddenly, he found a naked paper crane under his blanket. At the foot of the wall, Mu Xiaohuan, Mu Xiaoyang and Feng Shuiyan were hiding, as if they wanted to eavesdrop. On the sixth night, Ningfan took the initiative to visit the Cauldron World to help Bing Ling, Yu Ling, Feng Nu and Cha Nu break through the bottleneck. On the seventh night, Ningfan helped countless female guards to find the right path. On the eighth night, Ningfan became quiet because all the people who needed his help had benefited a lot from dual cultivation, and went into seclusion. Bathing in the wind and snow, Ningfan walked out of Sifan Palace and walked on the long street of 7 Apricot City. Living a comfortable life for several days made his tired heart slightly relax. It almost made him want to put down the sword in his hand and stay with Ji He and the others in 7 Apricot City for a long time. However, it was still far from the time to put down this sword. He walked towards the Godly Void Pavilion step by step. Outside the pavilion, an elderly man was already waiting respectfully. He was a Gold Core Realm elderly man. His name was Yin Xiao. He had once hosted the 7 Apricot auction together with Ningfan. In the past, when the 7 Apricot auction was held, Ningfan was just at the vein opening realm. Now in the blink of an eye, he had already become a supreme being in the Rain World. The Godly Void Pavilion was a force of the upper world. As a member of the Godly Void Pavilion, Yin Xiao naturally had a sense of arrogance. However, in front of Ningfan he did not dare to show his arrogance at all. As soon as he saw Ningfan approaching, he immediately lowered his head respectfully and cupped his fist to greet him. Yin Xiao has come to the Godly Void Pavilion under the orders of my mistress. My mistress has ordered that if Marquis White Robe comes, you can directly go to the inner pavilion to meet her. All right. You may leave now. Understood. Yin Xiao left respectfully. His figure gradually disappeared into the night. It was nighttime. Many experts were hiding in the darkness of the Godly Void Pavilion. Some of them were nascent Soul Realm experts and some Divine Transformation Realm experts. These experts naturally could not hide from Ningfan's spirit sense. The reason why they were hiding here was to protect the mistress in the inner pavilion. Unfortunately, that mistress did not seem to need these people's protection. Ningfan walked towards the inner pavilion step by step. It was a pavilion that was built with ice. On the small path outside the pavilion, there was a copper palace lamp that was lit every 10 steps. When Ningfan approached the pavilion, the door of the pavilion suddenly opened by itself without any wind blowing. The room on the lower floor of the pavilion gave off a faint fragrance of tea. On the empty table, a small red clay stove was burning and spiritual tea was being brewed. When Ningfan walked into the room, a lady wearing a cloak immediately appeared on top of the pavilion. She slowly walked down the long staircase. The lady's eyes, which were as bright as black gemstones, were filled with a mischievous smile. Brother Ning is really a romantic person. You have been snuggling in a soft and fragrant body for 7 days in a row. How do you have the time to come to my Godly Void Pavilion today? While the lady was talking and laughing, she gently took off her cloak and kept the spiritual equipment into her body. Are you here to return 3 favors to me? The corner of Ningfan's mouth carried a faint smile as he quietly looked at the petite lady in front of him. The lady had a petite figure and a soft body. Her long hair was tied up loosely, and she was wearing a black muslin dress. Under the light muslin, one could vaguely see the tube covering her chest. Her petite breasts were not big enough to hold with one hand, and her breasts were very small. So, it's the little demoness of the Godly Void Pavilion. It's really her. Her guess was not wrong. However, Ning Fan did not know since when did he owe the little demoness 3 favors? I owe you 3 favors? Are there so many? You don't? As the descendant of ancient chaos, reneging on a debt is a disgrace. The little demoness slowly walked in front of Ning Fan. Her soft and delicate body intentionally leaned into Ning Fan's chest. Her warm fragrance seeped into his body. Her eyes under her long eyelashes carried a deep smile from beginning to end. Let me slowly tell you how you owe me 3 favors. Let's start from Wuxia Emperor's arrival in 7 Apricot City. Sit down and drink some tea. This is Qilin tea that I personally brewed. It cannot be wasted. The little demoness slyly blinked her eyes. She turned around and escaped from Ning Fan's embrace to sit in front of the wooden table. Start from Wuxia Emperor, huh? Ning Fan's eyes suddenly became serious. Chapter 620. Ning Fan did not regard himself as an outsider, and sat on the other side of the wooden table. The little demon girl took out 2 glazed teacups as if she was performing a magic trick. She gently pointed at the glazed teapot on the red clay stove. A stream of amber-colored tea shot out of the teapot, splitting into 2 streams in the air, and falling into 2 teacups. The little demon girl picked up one of the cups and blew on it. Then she took a sip. Her fair skin immediately turned a faint red, as if she was drunk. Ning Fan lifted the teacup and took a sip. Suddenly his eyes darkened. The tea was not hot, but it contained an extremely pure fire spiritual power. If all the fire spiritual power contained in a sip of tea were to explode, it would be enough to burn thousands of miles of mountains and rivers into ashes. If a fire cultivator were to drink this tea and refine all the fire spiritual energy in this small sip, it would be enough to increase his magic power by half a yuan hui. The entire cup of tea contained at least a few yuan's worth of magic power. To Ning Fan, it was not something that he could completely refine within a short period of time. This tea is not bad. Ning Fan circulated his magic power to the maximum, forcefully digesting the small mouthful of tea that he had just drunk. Then he put down the teacup and was not in a hurry to drink it again. Ning Fan's face was not as red as the little demoness. The little demon girl had a surprised expression on her face as her eyes lit up. Qilin tea was a kind of rare spirit tea in the Eastern Heaven immortal world. It only grew in places where Qilin blood was shed, and it grew by borrowing Qilin blood. With the little demon girl's status, she could only get 1 tael of Qilin tea leaves from the Godly Void Pavilion, and bring it to the lower bound. 1 tael of Qilin tea was enough to raise the little demon girl's magic power by 5,000 yuan. She had always loved tasting tea and drinking tea. She absolutely could not bear to share this Qilin tea with others. Today, she had already predicted that Ning Fan would come, and she had actually brewed Qilin tea to entertain her guest. This was very inconsistent with her usual style. Perhaps she just wanted to tease him. One had to know that Qilin tea was precious, but not everyone could drink it. Normally, only cultivators at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm and above are qualified to taste this tea. If the cultivation base of the person who drinks the tea is lower than the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, he or she would not be able to endure the medicinal power of the tea, due to insufficient magic power. If it was light, he would spit out the tea and lose his composure. In serious cases, his immortal meridians would be damaged, and he would suffer some minor injuries. The little demoness thought that Ning Fan's would not be able to withstand the power of the tea, and would spit it out. After all, he was still at the origin returning realm. He was still far away from the 3rd breaking realm. Unexpectedly, after Ning Fan drank the tea, he did not show any abnormality at all. In just a blink of an eye, he had completely digested the entire mouthful of tea. Judging from his tea, Ning Fan's strength seemed to be beyond her expectations. This Qilin tea is my favorite spirit tea. Naturally, it is very good. The little demon girl stroked her black hair and blinked her long eyelashes. Her eyes were filled with a sly smile and she continued, "The tea is finished. Let's talk about the proper business now. Count how many favors my little fan owes me." That year, When Emperor Moksha came to your country, I gave you a scabbard. The scabbard contained a sword chi of the sword ancestor. You used that sword chi to block Emperor Moksha's attack, and even borrowed the power of the godly void pavilion to intimidate Emperor Moksha. This is the first favor you owe me. Here, I still have a scabbard like this. Her long eyelashes curved as she handed Ning Fan's an ancient scabbard. The scabbard. Ning Fan's hand held the scabbard. His expression did not change, but his heart was slightly shocked. This scabbard also contained a sword chi of the sword ancestor. The sword chi's power was comparable to a void fragmentation attack. This scabbard was almost the same as the scabbard from that year. Moreover, the sword chi of this scabbard also contained some other things. Ning Fan's palm stroked the scabbard, and carefully felt the sword chi inside the scabbard. A moment later, his heart shook again. This sword chi actually hid a magical power insignia. That magical power insignia contained a trace of the little demon girl's chi. The pattern of the magical power insignia was 7 golden feathers. This was the insignia of the godly void pavilion. So that's how it is. You are right. That scabbard is the first favor I owe you. Ning Fan lightly sighed. So the scabbard that he obtained from the 7 apricot auction was the little demon girl's idea to auction and purposely gift it to him? That year, he only thought that he had picked up a treasure from the auction of the godly void pavilion. Now that he thought about it carefully, he only felt that this idea was laughable. With the shrewdness of the godly void pavilion and the craftiness of the little demon girl, how could they let Ning Fan's pick up a treasure? This scabbard was purposely given to him by the little demon girl, wanting him to borrow the power of this scabbard to protect the old monster. The sword chi of this scabbard also hid the insignia of the godly void pavilion. That year, when Ning Fan released the sword chi, Moksha Emperor must have sensed the pavilion insignia in the sword chi. That year, Moksha Emperor did not start a massacre in your country. Perhaps he was afraid of the reputation of the godly void pavilion, and did not dare to act rashly. If not for the help of the scabbard that year, without the godly void pavilion secretly borrowing power, Ning Fan's and the old monster would have died in the hands of Moksha Emperor. Thinking about it like this, Ning Fan truly owed the little demon girl a favor. Seeing that Ning Fan's did not have the intention to deny it, the little demon girl smiled even more sweetly. You are quite smart. I thought you would renege on this favor. It seems like I have underestimated you, the descendant of ancient chaos. Really? Ning Fan declined to comment. Now let's talk about the second favor you owe me. Ever since your master entered the sword world, do you know who was protecting him from being assassinated by the evil world assassins? The little demon girl smilingly asked. All these years, was it you who was protecting him? Is he doing well right now? Ning Fan's originally calm eyes suddenly had a trace of fluctuation. Not all of it was me protecting him, but he is doing very well right now, eating and sleeping. Who told him to have a golden-eyed sword cultivator secretly protecting him? The little demon girl curled her lips. Golden-eyed sword cultivator? Ning Fan's was slightly surprised. Nothing. Hee, in short, you already owe me 2 favors, do you agree or not? The little demon girl's long eyelashes turned into a crescent moon. I agree. Ning Fan's nodded. With the little demon girl's identity, there was naturally no need to lie about this matter. She said that she was secretly protecting the old monster all these years, so she certainly did these things. She protected the old monster, so Ning Fan's owed her a favor, so it was reasonable. The third favor, I don't need to say it, but you should understand. The little demon girl revealed a shrewd expression like a merchant, not seeming like a profiteer, but rather very cute. I understand. That year, I destroyed the Heaven Separation sect in a fit of anger, and laid down the mountain and river reverse formation. My mental strength was greatly damaged, and it was you who saved me and woke me up. This time, you returned to the Rain Immortal world, helped Bright Sparrow break through to the Void Fragmentation realm, and helped Mei Chen heal. Adding up all these favors, it is not an exaggeration to say that I owe you 3 favors. Speaking of which, you have helped me many times, so it is my gain. It is indeed your gain. Do you know how many bottles of 7th Revolution pills I gave your little pill devil to eat? And that half-finished 100 profound pill, they were all eaten by your Yellow Spring Sable. The little demon girl revealed a pained expression. Ning Fan's eyes widened. 7 revolution pills counted by bottles, and half-finished 100 profound pill. 100 profound pill was a low-grade 8 revolution pill. Even if it was a half-finished pill, it was still a priceless treasure, but this little demon girl actually used it to save Mei Chen. Bright Sparrow broke through to the void fragmentation realm, and ate at least 1007th revolution pills. This third favor was indeed a big one. Oh right, can you tell me where did you catch the baby yellow spring sable? And where did you get such a high-grade pill devil baby? The little demon girl asked with a curious expression. No comment. Ning Fan was speechless. It was said that the female cultivators in the 4 heavens loved to call their demon and spirit pets babies. Judging from the little demon girl's expression, it seemed like she had already regarded Mei Chen and Bright Sparrow as his pets. Fine, I won't tell you. Why are you being so fierce? All right, the debt of gratitude has been settled. Now you should think about how you are going to repay me. I owe you 3 favors, so I can do 3 things for you. Tell me your request. As long as it doesn't cross my bottom line, I will agree to it. Ning Fan wasn't an idiot. Of course, he could see that the little demon girl purposely showed goodwill to Mei Chen and Bright Sparrow because she had something to ask of him. Otherwise, there was no need for her to spend so much effort to befriend the 2 girls. According to Ning Fan's personality, he would repay whatever he owed her. Naturally, he would not owe her any favor. As long as it didn't cross his bottom line, he would agree to any request of the little demon girl. You want to do 3 things for me? All right. The reason why I came back to the Rain Immortal world this time is to do something. In order to accomplish this, I need your help. Hee, I won't tell you what it is. Let's talk about the first thing that I want you to do. After a month, accompany me to the North Sea to meet a few people. This is the first condition. It shouldn't be difficult, right? It didn't cross your bottom line, right, Big Brother Ning? It's not difficult. What about the other 2 conditions? Ning Fan inquired. We'll talk about it later. The little demon girl uttered the 4 words that she couldn't understand. All right. If that's the case, I'll see you in a month. Goodbye. Ning Fan lifted the teacup and drained it in one gulp. Then he put down the teacup and turned to leave with a relaxed back view. Now that he had figured out the little demon girl's scheme, he could finally let go of a huge burden in his heart. His internal injuries couldn't be healed in a day, so it wasn't suitable for him to go out. However, with his current cultivation, he wouldn't face any danger in the Rain Immortal world. Accompanying the little demon girl to the North Sea of the Rain Immortal world was no problem. Wait, take this. The little demon girl suddenly stood up and called out to Ning Fan. Then she casually threw 2 pill bottles to him. Ning Fan was startled. He caught the 2 pill bottles and scanned the pills inside with his spirit sense. His expression suddenly became complicated. Do I owe you favors with these things? No need. 3 favors are enough for me to play with. I'm giving these to you as thanks for accompanying me to drink tea in the middle of the night. I'm so sleepy. I'm going to rest now. See you in a month. The little demon girl yawned and giggled. Then, she went to the attic to rest. Ning Fan held the pill bottles in his hand, and his eyes darkened. He kept the bottles and returned to Fan Palace. At night, he didn't dual cultivate with the girls. Instead, he entered the profound Een world to completely suppress his injuries before the trip to the North Sea. Each of the 2 pill bottles that the little demon girl gave him contained a pill. The first was a healing pill called the Spirit Surge pill. It was a high-grade 7th Revolution healing pill. This pill was enough to heal his internal injuries. It was much better than the 2 remaining high-grade 7th Revolution healing pills that he had. The second was a life-saving pill called the Soul Stabilizing pill. It was a peak-grade 7th Revolution pill. Its medicinal effect was similar to the undying fruit core. It could prolong one's life and protect one's soul. The little demon girl gave this pill to Ning Fan in the hope that he could survive the backlash of the seal. With the Spirit Surge pill, Ning Fan didn't have to worry about the seal at all. Currently, he only wanted to do one thing, and that was to fully recover from his injuries. After his injuries are healed, he could head to the middle state to find his mother. I'll protect you. In the profound Een world, Luo Yu walked to Ning Fan's back. Ning Fan sat cross-legged in the profound Yin world and swallowed the spirit surge pill. This time I must find her. This was Ning Fan's only belief at the moment. Chapter 621. 10 days passed. The healing speed in the profound Yin world was 100 times faster than the outside world. Ning Fan's refined the power of the spirit surge Dan one by one, and all the hidden injuries on his body were completely healed. After his injuries healed, his magic power even improved slightly, reaching 76,000 yuan hui. Ning Fan's expression was as calm as an ancient well. Although the immortal tear seal in his body was powerful, it was nothing to be afraid of. There were 10 golden crystals in his heart, crystallized from devouring primordial divine incense. They contained 20,000 yuan hui worth of magical force. If Ning Fan has enough time to refine it, he would be able to increase his magic power by several times. In total, he would be able to increase his magic power by 40,000 times. He still had 420,000 Dao crystals with him. If he refines all of them, he could increase his magic power by 84,000 yuan. There were still many Dao fruits and pills in his hands. If he refines all of them, Ning Fan's magic power could break through to 200,000 yuan hui. The magic power of 200,000 yuan was comparable to that of an old monster at the third heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Unfortunately, the knot in Ning Fan's heart had yet to be resolved. It was not enough for him to reach the void fragmentation realm. Moreover, he did not have enough time to refine such a large number of heavenly treasures for the time being. It would take at least 100 years to refine all the natural treasures. Even with the help of the profound Yin world's 100 times faster refining speed, it would still take 1 year, or even several years. I'm not in a hurry to raise my cultivation. The most important thing now is to find my mother. I must find her, otherwise, I'm not worthy of being a son. Ning Fan stood up and exchanged glances with her. However, he did not say anything. With a flash, he left the profound Yin world. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly sent a telepathic message. I'm already not far from the void fragmentation realm. When I attain the void fragmentation realm, I will be able to gain complete control over the profound Yin world and help you escape. I'm about to accomplish what I promised you. Is that so? Luo Yu nodded, but she was thinking about something else. She looked slightly disappointed. After Ning Fan attains the void fragmentation realm, she would be able to break free and leave the profound Yin world. But what was she going to do after she was freed? She had the mission of vengeance. Perhaps they would part ways after she got out of here. It seems like he's a little reluctant. Luo Yu sighed. Ning Fan returned to the outside world and walked out of Xifan Palace and Seven Apricot City. His eyes were filled with determination. He shot out several sound-transmitting flying swords to inform the women of his whereabouts. Then, he turned into a streak of light and sped towards the middle continent. Su Yan happened to return from the outskirts of the city and saw Ning Fan's escape light. Originally, she wanted to ask about Ning Fan's whereabouts, but she suddenly received a messenger sword light. There were only 3 words in the voice transmission. Central Plains. Is Master going to the middle state again? Su Yan looked at Ning Fan's departing figure and muttered to himself. It was her first time seeing such a resolute look in Ning Fan's eyes. It was like an unstoppable sharp sword. She did not know what Ning Fan was going to do in the middle province, but she would not ask about it either. She was very obedient. She only knew that Ning Fan must be going to the middle state to do something extremely important. No one could stop Ning Fan from completing his task. This time, Ning Fan did not bring anyone along with him. He wanted to do this by himself. He should have died when he was a baby, but his mother risked her life to save him. If Ning Fan couldn't find his mother, he would never be able to feel at ease for the rest of his life. Mother, I will definitely find you. When he recalled the dream he saw in the weeping blood forest, a hint of sadness flashed across his eyes. Then his expression became even more resolute. Everyone in the world had parents. Ning Fan had one too. At this moment, Ning Fan was neither a devil lord nor a cultivator. He was just a human son. No matter if he was rich or poor, noble or lowly, immortals or mortals, as long as he was a human son, he would never abandon his parents. Ning Fan flew continuously for several days until he reached the middle state. Then he stopped at the peak of the tallest mountain in Huanyu country. Huanyu country was a mid-grade cultivation country located at the center of the middle state. As for the tallest mountain in Huanyu country, it was called the Sweet Dew Peak. It was 300,000 zhang tall. If one uses the 9 heavens rain technique in this place, it would be enough to cover the entire middle state. On the Sweet Dew Peak, a grand event was being held. The king of Huanyu country, a dignified peak nascent soul realm grand cultivator, Master Rain, was giving a lecture to the cultivators of his country. What he was talking about was the Tao of Rain. There were a lot of water elemental cultivators in Huanyu country. There were tens of thousands of cultivators who came to listen to his lecture. Rain is derived from water, formed from clouds and mist and falls as a sweet rain. Rain belongs to the element of water. Water is good and beneficial to all living things. Therefore, cultivators who cultivate the Tao of Rain are usually gentlemen who are as gentle as rain. Halfway through his speech, Master Rain suddenly felt an extremely strong aura force. Under the shock, he became tongue-tied and could no longer speak. That was an irresistible aura force. Its aura force was as heavy as the heavens, making Master Rain, a dignified peak nascent soul realm grand cultivator, feel suffocated. The tens of thousands of cultivators at the scene all felt this aura force that descended from the sky. Under this aura force, each of the harmonious spirit realm and gold core realm old monsters could not help but tremble. At this moment, tens of thousands of people raised their heads at the same time and found a white-robed young man standing proudly in the sky above the Sweet Dew Peak. The young man's body was covered with a sky-green light. At the moment when this light shone, the entire Huanyu country was suddenly covered with dark clouds. It was as if a storm was about to come. How dare you? Master Rain is giving a lecture here. Who are you? How dare you cause trouble here? A harmonious spirit realm cultivator, who did not know the immensity of heaven and earth, suddenly stood up and pointed at the white-robed young man in the sky. As soon as he finished speaking, the white-robed youth in the sky suddenly swept his gaze over. That gaze was extremely calm, carrying a faint azure radiance without any fluctuations. However, just a gaze from him was enough to turn the harmonious spirit cultivator's body into pus and blood. Just a glance from this white-robed youth was enough to kill a harmonious spirit expert. The reason why this harmonious spirit expert was still alive was because the white-robed youth didn't want to kill him. Shut up. This person, must never be offended. Master Rain stood up abruptly. His face was filled with panic as he looked at the white-robed youth, then at the harmonious spirit cultivator, who spoke rudely. With Master Rain's identity, he did not know that Ning Fan was Sui of the Rain World. However, Master Rain could tell that this white-robed young man was not an ordinary person. He was not someone he could afford to provoke. He had been cultivating the rain for his entire life. Even though he hadn't reached the soul formation level yet, he had learned a bit of the intent realm of rain. If he could completely comprehend the concept of rain, he would be able to become a deity in this lifetime. Master Rain looked at the white-robed young man in fear. He recognized him. The azure radiance around the white-robed young man's body was obviously the extremely terrifying power of the rain intent. That was the true rain intent. Besides, the grade of this rain intent was so high that Master Rain could not help but tremble in fear. Under this rain intent, the thin rain intent in Master Rain's body was on the verge of completely collapsing. That white-robed young man stood in the sky as if he could control the heavens' will and summon the wind and rain at will. This white-robed young man was none other than Ning Fan. Master Rain inwardly guessed that this white-robed young man was at least a late divine transformation realm old monster, who had already cultivated his intent realm to a profound level. He could not afford to offend this kind of old monster. The entire Huanyu country could not afford to offend him. I have some matters that I need to attend to on this Sweet Dew Peak. Can everyone give me some face and leave for now? Since Senior has something to attend to, we naturally won't dare to disturb you. Master Rain cupped his fists and lowered his head respectfully. He did not dare to show any dissatisfaction. As soon as he gave an order, the tens of thousands of cultivators on the Sweet Dew Peak who were listening to his preaching dispersed. Then he bowed respectfully to Ningfan and turned around to leave. Hold on. Ningfan stopped Master Rain. May I ask if Senior has any other orders? If I can help Senior a little, I won't hesitate to go through water and tread on fire. Master Rain's heart was filled with fear. He did not know why Ningfan stopped him. He wondered if he had offended Ningfan with some of his words. When he thought that he might have offended a peerless late divine transformation realm expert, Master Rain's mental state, which had been cultivating for many years, was in a mess. Take this pill. Consider it my compensation for disturbing your preaching. Ningfan flicked a pill bottle with his finger and passed it to Master Rain. Then he flicked his sleeve and a strong gust of wind blew Master Rain several tens of thousands of li away. Before Master Rain could take a closer look at the pill bottle in his hand, he was already blown several tens of thousands of li away. When he looked at the pill bottle in his hand again, his face immediately lit up with joy. This is the divine accumulation pill that can increase the success rate of attaining the divine transformation realm. Thank you for your generous gift, Senior. Master Rain was extremely excited. His impression of Ningfan rose rapidly. He thought to himself that if this divine essence pill succeeds, he would certainly regard Ningfan as his benefactor. Of course, he did not know that the divine essence pill, which was as important as his life, was just a useless pill that Ningfan had snatched from an unlucky person. Ningfan dismissed the crowd and stood on the summit of Sweet Dew Peak. His eyes glowed with heavenly green rain intent. He suddenly performed a hand seal and displayed the technique that the rain ancestor was famous for. Heaven-peaking rain. There is rain in the 9 heavens. My thoughts are connected to the entire world. The clouds are my eyes and the rain is my thoughts. Ningfan performed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers. All of a sudden, the entire Huanyu country, which was 1 million li of land, began to drizzle. That drizzle was still spreading far away, reaching 7 to 8 cultivation countries which were far away and covering an area of 70 million li. At this moment, Ningfan only displayed the vast heaven rain technique. Just 1 day of rain could cover an area of 70 million li. He changed his hand seal and continued to display the second and third types of rain techniques. Vast heaven, young heaven, red heaven, vermilion heaven, Chung heaven, Yu heaven, profound heaven, changing heaven, great heaven. From 3 days of rain to 6 days of rain, and then to 9 days of rain. At this moment, Ningfan's eyes were tightly shut. However, the clouds were his eyes and the rain was his thoughts. With Huanyu country as the center, a soundless drizzle swept across the entire middle province. Ningfan's face turned slightly pale. It was definitely not easy to display this technique, as it placed a huge burden on his spirit sense. His spirit sense spread along the drizzle and covered the entire middle province, including the territories of the 5 countries, 9 palaces and 13 sections. Be it Xiao country which was in seclusion or Xiao country which was suffering from a prolonged drought, at this moment, a drizzle fell on all of them. Shui country, Yinyu country, Lisun country, Qianhuan country, Tianyin country. Every single scenery fell into Ningfan's eyes. Ningfan's spirit sense scanned through every river and every valley, searching for traces of his mother's qi. Nothing. Nothing. His spirit sense dug 3 qi deep into the ground and penetrated 1 million zhang underground to search for his mother. His spirit sense soared high up in the sky and searched 1 million zhang below the ground. His spirit sense seeped into each and every formation and forbidden land. The formations below the immortal void realm could not stop his spirit sense at all. His spirit sense scanned through the 300+ cultivation countries in the middle province, but he still could not find a trace of his mother's qi. Ningfan clenched his fists tightly. His fingernails pierced deep into his palms. If I can't find my mother, then what exactly is the purpose of everything I've done? Suddenly, Ningfan opened his eyes. His eyes shone brightly. I found it. He had found a trace of Ning Qian's qi. However, he did not expect that Ning Qian's qi would actually appear in such a place. Chapter 622. Ning Fan did not expect that Ning Qian's qi would appear in such a place. It was an ancient forbidden place that was sleeping tens of millions of zhang below the heavenly cloud country. It was a forbidden place that only the Rain Sovereign could enter in the entire Rain world. Ning Fan had no idea where that place was. However, there was a trace of Ning Qian's qi there. Perhaps she was there. It was a forbidden place that only the Rain Sovereign could enter. Could it be that what happened to Ning Qian in the past was related to the Rain Sovereign? What surprised Ning Fan was that Ning Qian's qi carried a strong sense of death, as if she had been dead for countless years. However, there was still a trace of vitality left in her. It was extremely strange. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. In a flash, he flew towards Heavenly Cloud Country. No matter what, I must bring my mother back to you country today. No one can stop me. Heavenly Cloud Country, ruling Sky Realm. On this day, the entire Middle State was showered by a drizzle. Even in the 10 realms of Heavenly Cloud Country, there was a continuous drizzle. Ordinary people did not know what was going on, but the Rain Sovereign clearly knew what this rain meant. If this rain fell in Heavenly Cloud Country, the Rain Sovereign would at most think that someone was cultivating the rain intent and attracting the rain. He would not be surprised. However, this rain fell in the entire Middle State. It was definitely not normal. In the 9 worlds, no one could spread the rain intent to the entire Middle State and make it rain at the same time. The Rain Sovereign's heart sank. He knew that someone had learned the technique that made the Rain Ancestor famous, the heaven-peaking rain technique, and used it to rain the entire Middle State. When he recalled that Ning Fan had once swept across the Heavenly Cloud Country and observed the 9 rain tablets of the Rain Ancestor, the Rain Sovereign's face turned even paler. The only person in the Rain world who could display the Rain Ancestor's technique was probably Ning Fan. What ability does this kid have to be favored by the Rain Ancestor and learn the heaven-peaking rain technique? This technique is extremely difficult. Other than the Rain Ancestor, no one else has ever succeeded in learning it. He actually succeeded. The Rain Sovereign's face was filled with intense jealousy. Other than the Rain Ancestor, no one else could learn this technique successfully. Was actually learned by Ning Fan, a devil cultivator. How could he, the Rain Sovereign, endure this? This kid really can't be left alive. Rain Emperor was muttering to himself. All of a sudden, a swift and fierce flight light rushed into the border of Heavenly Cloud Nation and headed straight for the Directorate of Heaven territory. The Rain Emperor was shocked, and he transformed into a streak of light that shot out of the ruling celestial city. He looked toward the sea of clouds. A white-robed young man stood coldly above the sea of clouds. He was none other than Ning Fan. Countless Heavenly Cloud cultivators were alarmed and soared into the sky. After all, the last time Ning Fan returned to the Rain Palace, he had killed King Lan Ling. This time, no one knew what kind of calamity would be stirred up in the Rain Palace. Naturally, there were many people who were worried. As soon as the Pill Sovereign, Yun Qingge, and the other Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators received the news that Ning Fan was coming to the Heavenly Cloud Country, all of them rushed to the ruling Sky City from the 10 territories of the Heavenly Cloud Country. He just stood on the sea of clouds above the Tian City and formed hand seals with his 10 fingers over and over again, causing the drizzle to penetrate deeper into the ground. After carefully sensing his surroundings, Ning Fan was very sure that his mother was trapped in the forbidden area beneath the Heavenly Cloud underground. Hee, Marquis White Robe, did you come to the ruling Sky City today to discuss something with me? The Rain Sovereign squeezed out a smile. That's right. I've come here today only for one matter. I want to enter the forbidden area beneath the Directorate of Heaven. What? The Rain Sovereign was shocked. He could not figure out why Ning Fan wanted to enter that forbidden area. That forbidden area was the place where the Rain Ancestor passed away. There was an altar there, and the divine beast that had murdered the Thunder Sovereign was sealed there. The Rain Sovereign did not know why Ning Fan wanted to enter that forbidden area. However, no matter what, he would never let Ning Fan enter. The existence of the divine beast was a secret. Only the Rain Sovereigns of each generation knew about it, and it was not allowed to be spread to outsiders. Only the Rain Sovereigns of each generation can enter this forbidden area. You are not allowed to enter. Is there any room for negotiation? Ning Fan sighed softly. No, I can do anything you want except for this, the Rain Sovereign said stubbornly. What if I insist on entering? Ning Fan took a step forward and turned into his black robes. After extracting his soul, his chi was comparable to a second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster. The Rain Sovereign's eyes turned grim. It seemed like if he does not allow Ning Fan's request, Ning Fan would forcefully break into the forbidden area. Other than Thunder Sovereign Buzhou, Ning Fan was the second person who dared to disobey his order. This young man really cannot be allowed to live. The Rain Sovereign let out a cold snort. At this moment, Void Fragmentation Realm experts arrived at the ruling Sky City one after another. There were also hundreds of thousands of cultivators of the Rain Palace, who hurried over with the help of the teleportation formation. Along the way, many cultivators spread the news that Ning Fan came to the Rain Palace with ill intentions. There were also many cultivators who transmitted Ning Fan's intention to every corner of the Heavenly Cloud City. Many cultivators already knew that Ning Fan came to the Rain Palace this time to break into the forbidden area of the ruling Sky City. Chu Chong and looked at Ning Fan in confusion. He could not understand what Ning Fan's purpose was to break into the forbidden area of the ruling Sky City, even if he did not care about offending the Rain Sovereign. Yin Qingge also looked at Ning Fan in confusion. In her impression, even though Ning Fan was arrogant, he was not a person without a plan. Today, Ning Fan came alone and wanted to break into the forbidden area of the ruling Sky City. He would certainly anger the Rain Sovereign, and he might even start a war with the experts of the Rain Palace. Could it be that Ning Fan thought that he could fight against all the experts of the Rain Palace alone? That was just ridiculous. Yu Chong, who was behind Yin Qingge, stared at Ning Fan worriedly. It was Yu Chong, first time seeing such a resolute look in Ning Fan's eyes. She knew that the reason why Ning Fan broke into the forbidden area today was probably because he was extremely determined. He would not stop until he achieved his goal. From her point of view, no matter how strong Ning Fan was, he was only strong enough to kill King Lan Ling. He was still a lot weaker than experts on the same level as the Rain Sovereign. With Ning Fan's current strength, if he offends the Rain Sovereign, he would probably be in big trouble. Why is he so stupid? I heard from my master that he still has a few Void Fragmentation Realm helpers hiding in Yu Country. Humph. He obviously has helpers. Why didn't he bring them along? How dangerous is it to offend the Rain Sovereign alone? Does he really have to make me worry about him? Yu Chong was so anxious that she kept stomping her feet. The sixth Prince Yin Yomu gave Ning Fan a deep look without saying anything. The third Prince Yin Bushu, on the other hand, frowned. It seemed like he also felt that Ning Fan was a little reckless in breaking into the forbidden area this time. The Pill Sovereign let out a sigh. He slowly walked forward and asked Ning Fan, "Only the Rain Sovereigns of each generation can enter the forbidden area of the ruling Sky City. You are not the Rain Sovereign, and you don't have the bloodline of the Rain Palace. You can't enter through normal means. You can only break the seal by force. It is said that this forbidden area is divided into 3 levels. In the first level, many devil creatures are being suppressed. No one knows how many Void Refinement Realm devil creatures there are. If you break the seal of the forbidden area, countless devil creatures will certainly escape. If even one of them escapes, it will be enough to bring chaos to the middle state." On the surface, the Pill Sovereign was advising Ning Fan to give up on breaking the seal. In reality, he did not want to see Ning Fan continue to anger the Rain Sovereign. The Pill Sovereign knew how narrow-minded the Rain Sovereign was. It was not wise to offend him in public. "My mother is currently trapped in the forbidden area of the ruling Sky City," Ning Fan explained to the Pill Sovereign through telepathy. As soon as he said that, the Pill Sovereign's expression changed. He knew Ning Fan's personality very well. If what he said is true, Ning Fan would definitely break into the forbidden area to save his mother no matter what. However, why was his mother sealed in this place? The Pill Sovereign was puzzled. He had never heard that Ning Fan's mother was still alive. However, the Pill Sovereign already knew that there was no way he could persuade Ning Fan to give up on entering the forbidden area today no matter what. The only thing he could do was to stand on Ning Fan's side and help him achieve his wish by entering the forbidden area. The outsiders naturally did not know the reason why Ning Fan broke into the forbidden area. The Rain Sovereign's expression turned extremely gloomy. He knew that Ning Fan had the broken 5 evil separation technique, and he had the strength to kill the Vine Sovereign. Even though he harbored killing intent toward Ning Fan, he did not dare to really make a move. However, at this moment, Ning Fan insisted on breaking into the forbidden area, and the Rain Sovereign would not allow him to enter no matter what. Today, the Rain Sovereign had no choice but to fall out with Ning Fan. Yen air mu air hung air, you 3 go and capture this young man. Suppress him under the Rain Mountain for now and let him calm down. Even though the Rain Sovereign gave the order verbally, he was secretly on guard. Previously, after Ning Fan killed King Lanling, the Rain Sovereign had bestowed his sons with life-saving magic treasures. With the 3 of them working together, they would be able to protect themselves even if they face a 3rd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster. If Ning Fan does not use the broken 5 evil separation technique, he would not be a match for the 3 of them at all. What if Ning Fan uses the broken 5 evil separation technique? The Rain Sovereign's eyes flashed with cold light. He secretly held the formation disc of the Heavenly Cloud Nation's Grand Formation in his sleeve. His original intention was to wait for the divine beast to finish its seclusion, and then use its power to kill Ning Fan. However, if today's matter reaches a point where it can no longer be resolved, he did not mind risking his life. Even if it means sacrificing the lives of his sons, he would still take Ning Fan's life. Yin Jinghong and Yin Zhongyan's eyes flashed with a hint of cold light. They stepped on the sea of clouds. Since Yin Yomu was called out by the Rain Sovereign, he naturally would not be able to escape from the battle. The 3 of them formed a triangle and surrounded Ning Fan in the sea of clouds. The Pill Sovereign's eyes flashed with anger. He owed Ning Fan a favor of saving his life. How could he watch Ning Fan being bullied by others? Just as he was about to help Ning Fan, he was stopped by Ning Fan's voice. I alone am enough for this battle. Before figuring out the truth of the past, Ning Fan would not simply kill anyone in the Rain Palace. Even if he wins today, he would not kill Yin Jinghong and the others. However, his determination to save Ning Qian was something that even the experts of the Rain Palace could not stop. I must enter this forbidden area. No one can stop me. Bang! Ning Fan's body suddenly turned into layers of black shadows and dispersed, attacking Yin Yomu, Yin Jinghong and Yin Zhongyan respectively. Before the 3 of them could react, their bodies were already enveloped by the black shadows. Under the entanglement of the black shadows, Yin Jinghong and Yin Zhongyan were severely injured and coughed out blood. They fell from the sea of clouds, and were caught by some cultivators of the Rain Palace. As for Yin Yomu, even though he had also suffered a lot of injuries, he managed to stabilize his body with great difficulty. He continuously retreated in the vast sky. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Yin Yomu was extremely shrewd and conceited. Even though he had witnessed Ning Fan killing King Lanling with his own eyes, he did not think that he was inferior to Ning Fan by much. He had never thought that he and 2 Void Fragmentation Realm experts who had joined forces to attack Ning Fan would not only fail, but also be defeated by Ning Fan in a single blow. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, he was already invincible among those at the 1st heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm, after displaying this Black Shadow ability. Even a cultivator at the 2nd heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm would be severely injured after being hit by this Black Shadow ability. Father, I'm not a match for Marquis White Robe. Yin Yomu gritted his teeth and descended from the sea of clouds. All of a sudden, countless cultivators of the Rain Palace in all directions sucked in a cold breath. 3 Void Fragmentation Realm princes had joined forces to fight Ning Fan, but they were defeated in a single blow. Isn't Ning Fan's strength a little too strong? Even some old monsters at the 2nd heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm do not have this kind of strength. The Rain Sovereign's expression became even more unpleasant. He signaled someone to the side with his eyes. Without saying anything, the 2nd prince, Yun Xiaoxiang, had already soared into the sky. Stepping on the 4-colored Emperor Cloud, his body exuded a strong aura force of the 3rd heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Yin Xiaoxiang's handsome face was also filled with malice at this moment. Every word he spoke was as cold as ice. The forbidden area of the ruling Sky City is not a place you can go. If you kneel down and apologize to my father right now, I can let bygones be bygones for what happened today. If you remain stubborn, you'll have to bear the consequences. I must go to the forbidden area of the ruling Sky City. If that's the case, I won't show you any mercy. If you die, don't blame me for being merciless. Yin Xiaoxiang suddenly stepped on the four-colored emperor cloud. Immediately, countless rays of four-colored light shot out from the clouds and swept towards Ningfan. As soon as the rays of light swept towards them, countless cultivators of the Rain Palace exclaimed in surprise. Luo Yu's voice of disbelief resounded in Ningfan's mind. A four-colored emperor cloud. This man was actually born with the emperor cloud. He is almost invincible among those at the same level as him. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.